All right, folks, let's bring this meeting to order. This is a Select Board meeting of Monday, July 15th, 2024. We are in the Select Board chamber and the time is 6 p.m. I'd like to make a motion to bring this meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly ordered. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open the Select Board meeting for July 15th.
Here, I'll even do this. How about that? So this evening, I want to remind everybody that MCM is here taping our meeting, and I'd like to ask you all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So this evening, we will have a executive session beginning at 6 p.m., and then we will return to open session. And I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
This executive session, I'd like to make a motion, is to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation if in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the town and select board, and the chair so declares pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to wit, Joseph Pesovich versus Verizon, Eversource and Marshfield Select Board. And the next one is Town of Marshfield versus Holtec Pilgrim LLC. And we are going into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to wit, interim acting fire chief Michael LaSalva. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to go into executive session to return to public session at the conclusion of the executive session.
Excellent, thank you. It's currently 6:28. I'd like to bring the public portion of the Select Board meeting of Monday, July 15th, 2024, back out of executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
We've returned to open session to continue the Select Board meeting for July 15th.
All righty. So very briefly on my chair comments this evening, I'd like to clarify for the public and our board that we have our interim acting Chief LaSalva, and we appreciate him stepping up and moving forward with the department. And we will be going into a discussion to appoint a committee to investigate and look into hiring a full-time chief. That will probably occur in August, and that is not part of this evening's comment and within our agenda. The only other thing I'd like to bring attention to the public and the board is that we have one hearing this evening. It's a poll hearing at 6:45 that will be open to the public for public comment to those abutters and anybody else that wishes to speak. So this evening, we do have a hybrid meeting as well as offered by our agenda and noticed as well. So with that being said, I'd like to ask our town administrator for his report.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I had my weekly call-in with WATD regarding various issues in and around town, including the playground issue. Had a meeting with Sean Patterson on the FY24 budget issues, contracts, and POs. Participated in a playground meeting with Sean Patterson from DPW, Craig Jamieson from the Recreation Department, Tom Miller from schools to discuss the plans to get our playgrounds back open as quickly as possible. We especially need to get the school playgrounds open before the schools reopen in September. The plan going forward would be to remove any broken structure or equipment, add mulch to increase the surface padding, and repair and upgrade on gate closures. Signs have been installed at the affected playgrounds, and additional signs will be added warning users about hot surfaces, fall risk, and other hazards. Tower Avenue Park is in the process of being rebuilt by the DPW. Funds will be identified to complete all the necessary repairs as quickly as possible. We'll continue to keep our residents and our parents updated as repairs are made and the playgrounds are reopened. Participated in on-call mechanical contract big openings with our facilities department. Had a meeting with Danielle Kerrigan, our HR, regarding some personnel issues and annual reviews. Hosted a meeting with residents Bill Early and Kerry Richardson regarding Chandler Pond and the dam issues. Town Council and North River Watershed Association participated in the meeting. Attended and participated in the advisory board meeting with Sean Strobel, our treasurer, and Meg LeMay, our town accountant, regarding the FY24 end-of-year transfer votes to close out the budget. Had a meeting with Mike DeMayo, our harbor master, to review ongoing town pier improvements, including the new ramp being completed, last of the moorings being installed after the dredge, repair of the boom, the ice machine is working, and other ongoing maintenance to better serve our residents and commercial fleet. I have been told that tuna fishing is going well. Had a conference call with Labor Council regarding contract negotiations with our fire union and clerical union, and finally a meeting with Sean Strobel, our treasurer, and Meg LeMay, our town accountant, regarding end-of-year closeouts, FY24 revenues, contracts, and POs. And that is my town administrator report.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so the time is 6:32, and we have an appointment for 6:35. So let's see if we can hold off and come up with something. Steve, help me out here, will you?
Do action item 1 since we just kind of discussed it in executive.
We could do that, might take a little while, and Lara Brate in the library park and Lobster Fest update maybe. But
6 would be quick. It's the rib cook-off.
okay, is there anybody else here? If you just raise your hand if you're here this evening for something on our agenda, a specific, and what is the project? The poll hearing, so that's another thing we're gonna need to wait on. Okay, so let's go to number 6. And this is a discussion and vote on application for annual temporary entertainment license, Marshfield Community Rib Cook-Off, and this is within our action items. So, this is a big event here in Marshfield. So this is September 7th, 12 to 7 p.m. There's a barbecue rib competition, live entertainment, food, beverages, kids' activities, and more. Live music, amplification system, and there's an estimate of almost 4,000 people to attend. Okay. State where the applicant is applying for, and so it's entirely outdoors, as many of us know when we show up there. 5 detailed officers and 2 ATMs. There will be a tent, if you have separate tents. There will be food served at the event. No issues from fire, no issues from police. They just want to hear from folks involved a couple days in advance. Is that correct? Yes. Anything else? I think that's it. Anything you'd like to add?
Nothing.
Anything you'd like to add?
I'm good with it.
All righty. So I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to I'm sorry, wrong page. Here we go. I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to approve an outside temporary one-day entertainment license with live music and amplification systems for Stephen Halco Sheehan of Marshfield for the Marshfield Community Rib Cook-Off, barbecue rib competition with live entertainment, food, beverage with kids' activities for September 7th, Saturday, 2024, from 12 noon to 7 p.m. at the Marshfield Fairgrounds located at 140 Main Street. Estimated number of people attending is approximately 4,000. They will have 5 detail officers and 2 EMTs. There will be a tent and food will be served pending sign-off from MPD, MFD, Board of Health, and Building Department. Organization is reminded to call the Marshfield Police Department a few days before the event to line up police details. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the outside temporary one-day entertainment license for the rib cook-off.
Okay. So we're going to go into our appointments. Is Laura Braid here?
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome.
Thanks. I have other people with me tonight. I know there's 2 things on the agenda. So,
Yes.
we're going to do one and then roll into the other. if that's
Sure.
okay.
So this is for Library Park and
Yeah, we'll
Lobster.
start with that. I have
So-
some papers for you.
Just introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Laura Braid, 24 Grace Lane. I'm the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce.
JJ Hensley, I'm on the Webster Walkability Board, Ashburn Ave.
All righty.
Can I give these to you?
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think that all of you are aware, maybe, I don't know, Mr. Kelly, I know that you're new and you weren't in this seat when we started the Webster Walkability Project, but that is a partnership with the town of Marshfield that started in 2018. Since that time, we've done a lot of work in Webster Square and Library Plaza. We do have a website that you can see all of the information that's been completed thus far. In 2021, there was a community outreach project done in partnership with the Planning Board, the Town of Marshfield, the Chamber of Commerce. I have the whole list here again, I can show you guys if you'd like to see it. And the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development. So when that was done, community outreach was done, and 211 people from the community participated in the outreach, and it came to be that what people were looking for in Webster Square was a few different things, but the ones that rose to the top were more shade, more family activities, more things for people to do, and more places to sit. So as part of the Chamber's Webster Walkability initiative, we have tried to work with the community, do outreach, raise money to try to make our town center a better place. As you guys know, there's been a lot of projects going forward, back a few years. Most recently, this board approved a zoning change, and I think the zoning board probably did too, for residential above commercial, because that's the way that the world seems to be, the direction they seem to be moving in. From this plan that we have here, I think it was 2 years ago now, we installed a pocket park right outside of Library Plaza, where there's some benches that people can sit on, across from Peppermint Twist and Live right there, just for reference, so you guys know what I'm talking about. But there's flowers, the chamber maintains that. We did raise the money for that, and we had some community donations, and also money that we raised from initiatives and events that we do, and we paid for that area. So we do have a committee, as JJ said, and he has been, it's a volunteer board, the Webster Walkability Committee, and he's been working with us to try to pick out what the next project is going to be. So I'll let him kind of take it from here to tell you about the project that we chose and what's in front of you.
Okay, thank you.
So what we chose is
JJ, can you just, your address?
49 Ashburn Ave.
I didn't, okay, thank you.
We chose a project basically across from that pocket park, in between Peppermint Twist and the pocket park. There's that strip of grassland where maybe there looks like there was trees at some point or benches at some point, but over the years, things have been changed, moved, whatever. That's kind of just no man's land there. It's walked, people walk on it, but there's no shade, there's nowhere to sit. There's plenty of opportunities to sit if we had seating there. So basically what we're looking to do is some kind of pollinator park, maybe 4 or 5 trees. There's already 2 trees there, so supplement the trees in the middle, and then benches either in between every tree or benches in a certain area, like facing each other or something like that, just to give people a place to sit and to transition from say like the playground to maybe the restaurant or just go shopping or something like that. Just a way to get to the other side of the center. If you've walked the center, it's kind of a mess and not a mess like dirty wise, just hard to do anything. My hope in this is to basically, if you go to the playground, be able to walk to Dairy Queen, walk to Sweet Frogs, walk to Town Hall if you wanted to go do something there, and do it safely. And currently, I don't know if that's really possible without a car. So that's kind of like the idea behind it. We have, I think we've picked out the trees for it, a flowering tree. It'd be like a little small bushy area to walk through, but other than that, it's really just a place for people to sit and more beautification, I guess. It's just an empty spot. It looks very barren there.
One thing I did fail to mention is that Massachusetts has a program called the Regional Economic Development Organization Grant Program, and I did receive a grant for this project, so it will be funded through the state of Massachusetts. It actually came from the South Shore Chamber. The Marshfield Chamber of Commerce is an affiliate of the South Shore Chamber, and the South Shore Chamber is a redo organization that's recognized in the state. So they do a lot of different work with a lot of South Shore towns, and Marshfield is the recipient of one of their grants for placemaking, they call it, and beautification in downtown areas.
Are you all set?
Yep.
In your presentation? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming and sharing, because everybody knows that beautification and that goes hand in hand with the importance of what we expect here in Marshfield, and walking around holding kids or pushing strollers or handicap, whatever we have, ADA is really critically important. And I think I had my little ones doing the Halloween last year, and we were walking around, and it was very hot, and it was very difficult to do what we needed to do to keep them safe, but it was such a fun event, so I think this will help in so many regards. So the one question I have is you talked about the grants, so
Yep.
what is it that you would need this board to do to see that this gets through the channels that it needs to get through? Is there anything from our end?
So I guess I would need you to say, yes, we want you to do this. It is town land, so we do
Yes.
need your approval. These areas were identified through a process already with Town Hall. We know that it's town land. And again, I'm happy to share this with you, but I would ask for you to approve our project.
Okay. Any questions?
I mean, it only says Library Plaza update, so are we taking a vote tonight on it or another
No.
time?
This is just an
All right.
informative meeting.
You're just looking for the future approval on this pollinator habitat, the median strip? That's it, right?
Correct, yeah.
All right. And then, so is this the plan that you're going to go with
So.
as to how this is going to look?
So this part here this shows an extended sidewalk, that's not part of the plan. If you look at this one up here, I think that it makes more sense, because can I stand up to show you? Because I'm gonna have a hard time
Yeah.
explaining what.
I would say,
Okay.
I would suggest next time if you can get something for the screen so everybody can see it, that would be great.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
But you can stand up and.
Oh, okay,
show
well, I
it,
was,
yeah.
Since we're on the topic,
yeah, okay. So,
up on the corner.
this part here, if you look at it this way, like you're driving towards the libraries over here.
Yep, I get
And then
that.
the speed bumps are here, so you understand this. So in in their suggestion here, they suggested that we extend the sidewalk and all that. We don't have the money for that. The only thing that we have the money for is for the trees and to replace those benches that are falling apart
Currently,
there.
yeah. So you're just like
Yes.
doing like an update to it,
Yes.
nothing major?
Yes, nothing major,
Okay.
no sidewalks, no update to pavement, we're not changing anything, just going on what's existing there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All righty. Thank you. So are you ready to share the second portion of your
Sure.
update with us?
Thank
Okay.
you. Yep, sure. I do have a bunch of members of my board here from the Chamber of Commerce, next to me here. He can introduce himself. But I also wanted to just point out that our board members are back here. We have Katie Gerstel, Courtney Anderson, Laurel Egan-Kenny, Jessica Ponyrko, and Bernie Heine in the back there. If they might be able to help answer some of the questions if there are questions that come up with this, okay?
Thank you.
I do have another piece of paper to give you, so you can follow along, if that's okay.
Of course. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is the 5th year anniversary of the Marshfield Lobster Fest. It started, I believe, 2018. I don't know what day it is, but this is the 5th year. The first year was a very successful event for our local businesses. We ran out of lobster. We ran out of all the food, we ran out of drinks, we ran out of everything. I had no idea how popular it was going to be in the beginning, but it turned out that people really liked it. We had over 5,000 people down in our harbor area. So I put together this this impact report just to go over some of the talking points that we have, and to answer some of the questions that you guys might have. So just for the people in the audience, I'm going to read it out loud so everyone can hear, know what we're talking about here. But we have 160 small businesses that participate in that day. There's over 2,210 pounds of local lobster sold on that event day, 5,000 plus attendees. $178,676 are earned by small businesses in that one day, in that 5 hours. Now we're there. You might ask how we came to that number, and that is an average. I reached out to some of our members that sell their goods there, also the food trucks that are there, and I just put all the numbers together and I averaged them out. So that's the number that I came up with. So it's a big day for local businesses in Marshfield. A lot of people ask us where the money goes. The money goes to fund our operations for the Chamber of Commerce, but specifically for this event, from this event, we donated $5,000 to the town of Marshfield Police Department, the beaches. At our annual meeting, I know some of you guys were there. That's something that's really important to people in Marshfield. We are a beach community, and we felt that that was a good way to, to support what people, want to do here. Also, you'll see under community support that some of the money goes to Key Club, DECA, Friends of Marshfield Hockey, Sanctuary Church, Boys and Girls Club, the Harbor Park Maintenance Fund, and Marshfield Kiwanis. And we have supported also activities in Brant Rock, the Brick Campaign, and the Turkey Trot this past year. Money went directly to that. If there are any initiatives or things that are going on in that area of town, we are always happy to hear from people and, donate money. And like we're doing Webster Walkability in Town Center, if there's something in that area of town that we can do, we're more than happy to talk to people about that. We expanded our education this season. So if you see down in the bottom left-hand corner, it's the Division of Marine Fisheries will be there, the U.S. Coast Guard, the Massachusetts Lobstermen's Association will be there. They've been a sponsor of ours and a supporter since the inception of this event. The Brant Rock Village Association, NRWSA, Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary is also coming this year, which I am excited about. So the layout is pretty much the same. I don't know if you guys have received a map yet. I know this is just an informational meeting for you, but I wanted to come here. And I know that John has a few things to say about, he runs the alcohol portion of it. And, so if you just wanted to go over that.
Yeah, of course. John Hernan, 55 Stony Brook Road. So since getting involved last year, we've moved from moving the beverage sales of the portion of the event to from using an outside subcontractor to getting our own liquor license, which should be before the board shortly. And what that's done is allowed us to again have volunteer bartenders out there, tip certified, to help us support the sale of beverages on site day of event. Provide a spot for families and people of all ages to come and enjoy the event and stay for a little while and enjoy everything that the event has to offer. That has also helped to expand profits out of the event for the chamber and has given us the opportunity to with those profits, get us more money and more funds to give back to the community. So it's something that we've recognized a benefit twofold. and it's helped us out quite a bit. And then the vendors that we use, we keep it local with local brewers, as well as soliciting the support of local distributors to help us with the event for day of event needs with coolers, giveaways, signage, and things of that nature to help keep the event under budget and realize those profits so we can then take that and give it back to the town and to the folks that attend the event and ultimately benefit from it.
Thank you.
Sure.
I appreciate all of that. So tonight is your entertainment license, if I have that correctly? And
Yes.
then later on, we'll be into the liquor license portion of this
Correct.
event. The thing that I wanted to say was how much this town relies on our harbor, and that particular area of town is a gem. It's a natural resource, and it's absolutely beautiful. And this takes up a day in the life of a Marshfield citizen, but it's a good thing because we have something really to head over and explore and see all these things that our town has to offer, and the actual importance of having something like this in a place so beautiful is something that I think is really cool. And the fact that there's so many people that do join in on this, there has been talk about having it in another location or whatever. So I think that that's maybe something that we'll talk about down the future, down the road. But for what we're looking at in the month of September, I really encourage, you've done a lot of work into this process, and I'd like to see another very successful year for you.
Thank you.
So that's my take on where we are tonight, but we will discuss it in our agenda. Anything you'd like to say?
Sure, just covering the broad strokes of the event. Why did your team pick the harbor as the location for Lobster Fest?
Sure. So we picked that area just for the reasons that, that Ms. Fiddler stated, that it's a gorgeous place. And that's one of the things that we hear from the attendees. They can't believe how beautiful it is. And a lot of the vendors too. We do have some vendors that come from out of town, and they say it's their favorite event because they're out on the water. The boats are there. We've been very, very lucky with weather. Although we did have a hurricane and we had to reschedule, but we've been lucky on the days that we actually have held the event. It's a beautiful place, and we like to highlight, how awesome our town is and what it has to offer. I know that there's a lot of talk about how, Brant Rock is one of our business zones, and it's an underutilized and developed area. And when I say that, I mean, if I look back at the pictures, there's that man that posts those pictures on the Marshfield Forum all the time of what Brant Rock used to look like. And I love seeing that. I think it's so cool because years and years and years ago, it was a very vibrant community. And I think that there's, of course, balance to that, but I'd love to see, some other stuff happening down there and just to bring some life back into it. And our hope with the event is that people will, especially in the off season, come back to Brant Rock, go to the Jetty, go to the Venus, go to Haddad's, or the new restaurant that's going to be there in their place. That's what we're trying to introduce Marshfield and our beautiful areas to other people, and hope to boost the economy, have people make money, and we call them events with intention at our board meetings.
Thank you.
Yep.
If I could just add one thing to that, and just on the town pier being a gem of an area, I think that being a Marshall resident for 34 years and growing up here my whole life, I'm proud to say that I'm from Marshall, and people always can relate to certain portions of Marshall because of whatever reasons that they've been brought down here. And I think Lobster Fest, why we chose that area and why it's such a great area and why the event is so successful is because it exactly is a gem of an area, and it's a day that we want to celebrate Marshfield and celebrate everything we have to offer and really showcase that to the folks that maybe don't make it down to the pier, and showcase it to the folks that really haven't been here before. There are a ton of families that come from out of town to come and see Marshfield and see what it has to offer, and I think that's what it's really all about is celebrating Marshfield and what we have to offer, and there's no better spot than down the town pier because of what it does have to offer for everybody.
And then could you just discuss, I think each year it's improved, but could you just discuss in your experience the logistics and transportation for the event each year?
Sure. So we have buses that travel from 2 local schools, so Daniel Webster and Governor Winslow, so the parking is off-site. We do encourage people to park off-site because we don't want people to be parking, that, taking up spots that people that want to visit the local restaurants. We don't want people parking in the Esplanade. We do not recommend that at all. We say, like, please park here, and then we can, you can take the buses to the event. The logistics are pretty much the same. I'm sorry that I didn't bring a map for you guys tonight. I'm more than happy to email it for you. But it's past the boat ramp is where the entrance is, because that, as you guys know, that's a state boat ramp, so it does stay open at all times. So last year, the Blessing of the Fleet was actually on the same day, so it was busier and people were launching their boats, and there was a lot of extra people there. So we want to make sure that everyone that's down in that area, people that are launching boats or pedestrians, are staying safe during that. So the entrance is pushed back. It's in the same spot as it was last year, and then on Joseph Drebeck Way, there's another entrance on that side. So it's two ways for people to enter and exit. And then there's really no other transportation. We do have golf carts that are there during the event to help transport people from the ADA parking into the event, or if there's, John uses them to carry stuff back and forth, and I'm back and forth all day, so I do use that. But as far as any other transportation, there's nothing else besides the golf carts and the buses.
And I know we're not voting this tonight, as
Yep.
Madam Chair stated
Yep.
earlier, but, we received an email question earlier today.
Okay.
And I think either you or Bob might be able to articulate the answer best, but could you just explain how Lobster Fest is able to pour alcohol on site on town property?
So from my perspective, I have come to this board, I've filled out all the proper paperwork, and I've asked how I can do that and if I could do that, and it's been granted every year. I do also receive a permit from the state, which I do have too, if somebody wanted to see it, because I do that, way ahead of time, because the pier is public property and anyone can apply to use that area. It's open to the public. So I did make sure that I got my permit ahead of time. So I think from my perspective, I've just asked the question, how do I do this? I've gone about it, done what I needed to do, and the permission's been granted to me every year.
And then
I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Yeah, and then you guys get insurance for the event.
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay, thank you. Eric?
Let's roll into that alcohol question. Mr. Galvin, can you enlighten us? And we just had this with another vendor that wanted to use a beach for an event, and what was it? Our bylaws stipulate that there's no alcohol on our town properties?
Almost every town that I know has a bylaw that prohibits alcohol from being consumed on public ways, public property. The way this has been done in the past is through the issuance of a one-day license under Chapter 138.
What's our bylaw say, though?
Our bylaw has a prohibition, correct,
A prohibition
on consuming alcohol on public ways and public property.
So, that was discussed in the last meeting in regards to a vendor. And we can't, my look at it, can't be making special accommodations for others on it. So, my look at it is that's gonna be a big hang-up. I think, I can't speak for my other two board members, but with me, amongst other matters with the Lobster Fest. When you said your donations, I brought this up with another group that was doing a road race. They sent us a list like 2 days later in regards to who they donate to. Could you send that list to the board in regards to who your list of donations are to?
So are you asking for this event specifically, or the Chamber of Commerce as an organization?
I imagine Lobster Fest you're donating to the town. Is that, you're donating part of it to the town? Any of the funds?
Well,
I remember
What do you mean to the
last
town?
year, his name gets away from me. He made a public comment saying that the Lobster Fest, then you guys make a donation to the town in
Yeah.
regards to, and I emailed him, he never got back to me in regards to where those donations are being dispersed to. So through Lobster Fest,
yes,
are you making donations to the town in regards to certain,
yes.
all right, so could you provide a list of where those donations are being dispersed to?
Sure, you do have a partial list in front of you on this impact report that I just gave you. So that is where the money went from last year.
I want to see that. Did I miss that report?
I handed it to you at the beginning of the meeting.
You hung up the,
I have another copy if you'd like to see
Yeah,
it.
if you don't mind, I might have got
No
hung up
problem.
in regards to your Library Plaza thing there. Oh, no, I got that. So, all right, so the community support you're talking about?
I'm talking about that, and I'm also talking about the $5,000 list that's here.
Community support, Key Club, DECA, $5,000 donated to help Marshfield beaches in 2020. Okay, all right, I appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
Clarification. So then, I was going through some of the responses on email here, and just for the record, Mike DeMayo, who's the harbor master, he is a member of the Chamber of Commerce Board. Would I be correct about that?
Are you, just a second. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, sure.
Are you into the actual agenda items and
I think so.
referring to that?
I don't know, we're talking
This
about-
is- this
what are we
is
talking
not-
about here?
This is an informational type of session to our select board
Oh,
agenda.
my apologies.
So we are not in the actual agenda portion, which has to do with the entertainment license, which I explained before.
All right, that's
So-
my mistake.
This is an information so that we're prepared and we understand the process, and they've been nice enough to come in front of us.
Yeah, just to be
Is that
clear,
correct?
Madam
Did I-
Chair, I'm happy to answer questions.
I know you are.
Okay.
He's into some other stuff, and I just want to make sure that we do it
Yeah, of
in
course.
in the proper procedures, so where open meeting law and all that kind of stuff is part of the whole thing. So, Eric, so you can ask that question now, and she's given you the leeway to do so, or you can hold off and ask it later. Because reading things that were sent to us in an email is really not part of this discussion, or maybe, you know.
Well, I don't know, it's not, I mean, Officer Fest, I mean, she wants to give, let's go with just an update on it, and then I guess we have
Yeah, well,
an
let's-
agenda item here,
since you
number
brought
8,
it-
in regards to, we'll roll
Okay,
on that afterwards, so.
Okay, so why don't, this is how I feel, and I think this is okay, if you would agree, allow him to just mention that somebody was in opposition to Lobster Fest and identify that one email, not read it into the record or anything like that, but you can perhaps just.
Well, we're gonna take this up anyways, right, regards to an entertainment license? I think it is, so we can
Yes.
just go back, when we take this up, we can just go into
Okay,
it then.
all right.
That's fine.
Fine. Anything else then?
No, well, I do have a couple things, but like I said, it'll pertain to the entertainment license
Okay.
when you get to that matter.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just have a question. Would you like me to stay until you get to that
think-
agenda item?
I think
Or
that
are you
may be
able to do that
wise.
now, while I'm here?
I think that may be wise, if you stay a little bit. We have a couple things that we need to do. It may take a little time. However, we could
You have the poll here, right?
we could move you up, or move that particular vote up, which is number 7. So I would recommend to this board that we move number 7 in front of number 1 and allow you to remain seated.
Sure.
Does that sound all right? So then, this will conclude your appointment for this evening.
Okay.
And I will read into the record what we're about to do, and that's go into number 7.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
All right? All right, Steve? Michael, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So number 7 is a discussion and vote on application for temporary entertainment license, Marshfield Chamber of Commerce. So just a second. So, this is an application for a temporary one-day entertainment license by the Marshfield Chamber of Commerce. Location Harbor Park. Event description Marshfield Lobster Fest, September 14th, 12 to 5. It doesn't have a rain date. Unless
Excuse me, the rain
yes.
date is the next day. If
It
that
is-
wasn't, it is, yes.
Okay, so September 15th,
Correct,
thank you. Same time?
correct.
Okay. Type of entertainment is live music, estimated number of persons who will attend, 4,000. And whether in entertainment, any person will be permitted to appear on the premises, motion picture. So that's a no. Section 3 is Laura's, our rate, and she's in front of us. Application is for entirely outdoors. It says, describe what efforts the applicant business has taken to reduce the impact from entertainment on neighboring residents and businesses, including noise and/or disruptive conduct by patrons. And NA, I'm going to just ask you to expand on that. Will there be a tent? Yes. Will there be food? Yes. We have a letter here from Mike DeMayo. All set with the harbor. Lobster Fest does have a plan in place for traffic, venue, security, et cetera, and they do have permits from the state for use of the parking lot portion. It is also stipulated that the boat ramp stays open and the commercial fleet still has access. It's been the same for the past 4 or 5 years. Thanks, Mike. And from Chief Tavares, the police have no issue with the event and will have details in place. Application. Fire is good with this. They will have detail on site for the duration of the event. That's from our acting fire chief, Michael Salva. There's a lot of paperwork here, but, okay. And then we have a letter dated Monday, July 15th, 2024, which is from Mary Ann Gagney. It references Situate hosts Heritage Days, and they closed down Front Street, and they don't charge a fee.
Pedestrian
And she-
traffic fee.
Yes, they don't charge a traffic fee for entry. And then she goes on to say she thinks it's illegal and is opposed to this event. Asking questions about disabled parking spots. So we'll ask about ADA parking spots. And then there is another email that's extensive that goes on from Pamela Priestess, is also in opposition to this, and mentions that she's taken some information from folks in that area. The local residents don't want it at the pier. I don't know what that's based on. There is not enough ADA parking, which we will follow up with. The DSA comments about it being mowed. I don't know why that's part of this particular public property, and the alcohol thing that we just had a discussion on, but we will follow through again. And there is a comment in regard to the North River Arts Festival and how that works, and that would be something that town council can help us with. Because I understand that that is incorrect. Okay, and then, first 1,000 would be on small pace, okay. And then there is a handwritten note received on July 1st, 2024, from Robert Tice, President of the Marshfield Commercial Fishermen's Association. I don't know if they took a vote, but this is that the Lobster Fest has simply outgrown the Brant Rock site, was the last sentence in this, and they are opposed. Takeover of the pier parking lot, I think Laura just explained, but that's not necessarily true. Okay. So, based on what I just went through, this is not this is simply a discussion of the board and deliberation of the board. So, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely, Madam
Sure.
Chair. So I know we had a meeting last week where there was an applicant looking to serve alcohol on the beach. That was a private company looking to do a corporate event, and we're talking about a nonprofit here. And while I certainly understand the bylaw, Situate has the same alcohol restriction bylaw that we do, and they serve alcohol on public property during Heritage Days. So, I think of Lobster Fest as Marshfield's version of Heritage Days. So I think there are a few important distinctions there, and not on my specific time on the board, but in the past, we've done the same thing for block parties and things of that nature. So I think because it's a nonprofit, we could just do a one-day license. It wouldn't be out of the norm from what we've done historically, or our sister town over in Situate, because again, they've done the same thing for Heritage Days, so, I would feel comfortable proceeding like we have in years past.
Okay.
I guess to opine that, I mean, not opine, but to follow up on that is, Bob, we got a bylaw that says no alcohol on public property. Is there exceptions to that rule?
The bylaw does not have an exception.
There's no exceptions.
That's what I said, yep.
All right, so this is for the entertainment license. Like I mentioned earlier, Ms. Bright, an email from Mike DeMeo. I just wanted to confirm he is a member of the Chamber's board.
He is correct.
Okay. And as Madam Chairwoman mentioned, there are a couple of letters and concerns in regards to the event, especially from the Marshfield Commercial Fishermen Association, which I was informed that was a unanimous vote that they were opposed to this event where they work out of there and make their living. And as well as, seems to be the neighbors, I don't know what your outreach is between the neighbors in the area and the Marshfield Commercial Fishermen Association, but it appears that there are certain people that live in that area that are not too thrilled with that being held there. And I'm glad it's a great event and a large event, but my thinking is maybe it probably should move to maybe like the fairgrounds, where that would probably be more conducive to handle what you have going on there between the park and everything else, and you could probably expand on your events more as they have the space for it. That would be my suggestion. That's all I have at the moment.
Okay.
Can I just ask one more question, Madam Chair?
Sure.
So I know that Harbor Master DeMeo has been exceptional in acquiring grants for our town. The amount of grant money he's brought back has been incredible, and there's a reason why his nickname is the Grant King. Why do you guys want him as a member of the chamber?
So, well, first of all, I need to start off by saying I am an employee of the Marshfield Chamber. I am overseen by a board of 13, I think, or 15 people at this point. I don't know, maybe somebody can answer in the back. 15 people at this point. So our agenda and our events and our plan for the year is set by this board of people, which some of the people are sitting next to me and behind me. If you ask me a personal question, why I like having Mike DeMeo on the board, I like having all of these people on the board. I don't really know what you're trying to get at with that question, but it's a diverse group of people that make up a group that care about the town of Marshfield, and everyone has different strengths. And when we're doing our board outreach and we have people that want to join the board, we're always looking for people that bring different skill sets to this area. And this event started prior to Mike DeMeo being a board member. So this event was created entirely without him. He had nothing to do with the creation, the foundation of this event. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
I mean, is grant writing a hugely helpful part that he brings to the table for the chamber?
Well, yes, of course, yep.
That's it.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know, that's that.
Michael, is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't have anything at this time, Madam Chair, to add, other than the event's been going on for 5 years.
Yep. So Bob, I'm inclined to move for a motion on this entertainment. We're not even talking about the liquor at this point, as long as we have some conditions in place for the ADA parking, and understand what I just understood from what I was told in the informational part, and also about the golf carts, that there is an ADA parking space area. And I guess that will come later on in our plan of what we'll see on this site. Is that a correct assumption? So is there anything else that I need to do today for an entertainment license that requires more information and detail on what the logistics of this project?
Nothing.
Okay, all right. And in that case, I'd like to move for a motion. The board moves to approve an outside temporary one-day entertainment license for Laura Brait, Marshfield Chamber of Commerce for Lobster Fest for Saturday, September 14th at Harbor Park from 12 noon till 5 p.m. The entertainment will be live music for approximately 4,000 people. There will be a tent and food will be served. Harbor Master DeMayo said there is a traffic plan, security plan, and a permit from the state for use of the parking lot. The boat ramp will remain open so that the commercial fleet continues to have access pending sign-off from the MPD, Harbor Master, MFD, Board of Health, and Building Department. And I'd like to add into this motion that there is a rain date of September 15th. So, Jenna, it would be following September 14th at Harbor Park from 12 noon till 5 p.m., and the insert would be, and rain date at Harbor Park on September 15th from 12 noon till 5 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
2 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, could I just ask you a question?
Yes.
Quickly? As far as the ADA parking goes, we do have ADA parking, and if there is a requirement for the event of how many spaces we need to have, I'm happy to accommodate that, of course. One other question is, you referenced a letter from Mr. Tice. Was there any contact information with that? Because I would be happy to chat with him.
I'd let our town administrator answer
Sure.
those
Okay.
questions for you. Excuse me.
There isn't, but I'll get you the contact information from Mick Furr and Mr. Tice, and I'll get that
Okay,
emailed
great.
to you tomorrow.
And just lastly, we do have a member of the Marshfield Commercial Fishermen's Association selling live lobster off their boat this year for us.
Okay,
Thank you.
I look forward to the details later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Okay. So we are going to go into our action item number 1, which is a discussion and vote to approve acting fire chief's contract. And I did mention this in my chair comments in the beginning.
Would you like to do the poll hearing, Madam Chair?
Oh, yes, I think we would like to do the poll hearing. Do we have any members of the public here this evening to represent the poll hearing for Nevada Street? Would you like to take the name, sir? Your name, sir?
Yes, sir. Ross Bilodeau, representing Verizon New England.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Ross Bilodeau,
Ross, okay.
representing Verizon New England, 21 Oxford Road, Mansfield, Massachusetts.
The floor is yours, sir.
Excuse me, Madam.
Yes.
You want to read?
Oh, I need to read that into
hearing?
into the record, yeah. Thank you. Extra papers here. Okay. This is a notice of public hearing in conformity with the requirements of Section 22 of Chapter 166 of the General Laws. Ed, you are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held at the Marshfield Town Hall Selectmen's Hearing Room, 870 Marine Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts, on the 15th day of July, 2024, at 6:45. Continuation of the poll hearing opened on November 6, 2023. Upon the petition of Verizon New England, Inc., and NSTAR Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, dated August 16, 2023, for permission to erect or construct and a location for a line of wires, poles, and such other fixtures as may be necessary to sustain or protect the wires of the line upon, along, across, or under the following public ways of said town, Marshfield. A copy of the most recent communication and map received from Verizon is attached along with the original petition. Please note, attendance to the public hearing will be permitted remote via Zoom and in person. The Zoom link to this public hearing will be available on the town's website on the Select Board agenda 2 business days prior to the hearing. Select Board, Town of Marshfield. All righty.
Okay, thank you. Like you stated, this is a revisit from November of last year. Just a quick recap, Verizon was approached by the customer at 73 Nevada Street, looking to move a pole over that's impeding a driveway he's looking to put in. We had come to the board, again in November of last year, and he gave us a little homework to do to provide some new sketches showing, accurate plot lines and where the public right-of-way is and where the existing and new proposed pole would be going. Customer at 73 was happy to provide a sketch here from his professional land surveyor, outlining all of that. You can see the 7-foot move that we were looking for and how that would open up his driveway. So that pole will be moving just to the property line, still in front of number 73, but towards the property line with number 69 Nevada Street.
So, for the record, we have received more information since, as you mentioned, back in a previous public hearing dated of November 6, 2023. Okay. I'd like to start off with the site plan that is a pole relocation plan, which is dated of 8/11/2022 and revised of November 15, 2023. And ask you the question, between this date and today's date, has anything changed to this pole relocation plan?
Negative.
There was a note received by this board in regards to response on moving this pole to the right, which is, I believe, north-south. I believe that's easterly. I don't see I'm sorry, northeasterly, along Nevada Street. And the response was from your board, or from your engineers, was that was not feasible. Can you explain to this board why that's not feasible?
Well, the way it's laid out now, we do have lines that run up Constitution Road. The engineer did go out and vet this again to see if we could accommodate anything else, but the way it's all laid out now, if we move it in the opposite direction, we'd have different pushes and pulls on the pole lines that, might not be there now. And we would probably have to end up adding additional poles in an already congested area. Where we're proposing the pole is the optimum spot.
Okay. So last November, we received an abutters list, and on that abutters list were the following names and addresses. Mary and Thomas Fitzgerald of 65 Nevada Street. We had the DeTulio, Carissa G. DeTulio of 69 Nevada Street. We had William Maroney of 73 Nevada Street. We had Laurel Hanscom of 77 Nevada Street. We also had Sean and Kimberly Robinson of 86 Nevada Street. And we had Michael and Jennifer McNeely of 74 Nevada Street. I reviewed the records that we had at that point on each of these abutters, and to the best of my knowledge, I have opposition emails or letters or correspondence from 69, 73, 77, 86, and 74, and each of those abutters are opposed to this project of moving this pole. I don't know if we have 65 Nevada Street. That was a question I had for Jenna and Michael. Do you know if we have any response from the Fitzgeralds?
I don't. If we had them, we'd have them in the book.
Okay. So based on that, each of the abutters are opposed to this. I'm also going to just keep going down this here. So we have also, for the record, we have our minutes of Monday, November 6th, and the poll hearing, and I asked, I'll just go to the gist of this, and board members can add into it as they feel necessary as well. I asked if there was any other reason to move this poll. And then I also asked if there was another location that would work for this poll. And I believe Mr. Darcy also asked to look for alternative locations. So let's just start there. So we were looking for some sort of an engineering reasoning why that 7 feet from the existing pole to the proposed pole location had to be 7 feet from that pole. It didn't have to be 2 feet, it didn't have to be 3 feet, it had to be 7 feet from that pole, and it couldn't go to the right. So can you please answer that question?
Sure, if the pole also did go to the right, there is also a gas line feeding number 73 right there. And like I said, we move poles in opposite directions, we're putting opposite pushes and strains on the pole line, which might not already be there now. Our engineer went out and re-vetted this project and doubled down that where the stake location is today is the optimum that'll work for Eversource, Comcast, all the attachers, as well as the public. Moving the pole out of this proposed driveway and putting it in a spot that, still works to get services to all the homes, as well as make the connections up Constitution Road and up and down Nevada Street.
Okay. I also was informed, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, so if you could correct me, that particular pole that we're talking about, the existing pole, had been replaced 6 years prior to one of our abutters giving. So that's a new pole, give or take. What's the length of life on a pole?
It's hard to say with the treatments that they use today. If it is a new pole, I'm not privy to that. I don't know the date that the pole was set or that the pole was manufactured offhand. But poles can go, 5 to 15 years, I would say.
Okay. And you've never, when you change a location of a pole, do you always make that determination based on gas lines?
Based on gas lines, we make determinations on all sorts of items, like I stated earlier. But the gas line serving number 73 would impede moving the pole in the opposite direction.
Okay. And it's not possible to move the pole 2 feet, not 7 feet?
The pole wouldn't move enough to get out of the driveway.
So that's not what I'm getting at.
Right.
I'm getting at the reason
We
for
could pull-
moving
we
the
could-
pole, not the driveway that came after the fact.
Sure, we could move the pole 1 foot if we wanted, if we
You
needed.
could, if
6 inches.
necessary. Okay. All right, I am going to, so we had other parts of the minutes, but I'm going to just stick with that actual pole location and ask our other board members if they could just focus on the location of the pole and moving it. So if you'd like to add, and then we can continue.
Sure, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm completely new to this since it was an extension of whatever you guys, previous board member prior to me had here.
We did continue it.
Yeah,
So,
you could, yeah. So, on the maps here, I don't see anything showing where the guidelines or anchors are gonna be installed.
I don't believe there's any guide wires
So you
going.
don't plan on installing anchors or guidelines?
No.
Okay. And, what is the process of getting a pole moved? I mean, this isn't the first time it's been brought before us, so, I mean,
Sure.
what is the process of a resident getting a pole moved?
Sure. The first step would be customer putting in a call to our contact center, requesting that somebody come out and take a look and come up with a feasible option for what they're trying to do. Our engineers, Eversource's engineers would go out and vet the location, vet the project, come up with a solution. Solution gets put down on paper. We submit right-of-way paperwork to the municipality, city, town, whoever it may be, state. It gets vetted through a process like this. If it's approved, the next step would be for Verizon, who's the maintaining party in town, to go out and place the new pole, in the new location. Working from the top down, each company attached to that given pole would have to transfer their wires to the new pole and remove the section of pole that they're currently attached on the existing pole. So again, top down. Verizon's always on the bottom. Verizon will move their wires accordingly to the new pole and pull the pole butt at the end of that process. That would complete the process of moving the pole.
Who's in charge of paying for all this? Or who's responsible for paying for all of it?
In a situation like this was a customer request. Customer is paying for this work.
Customer's gonna be paying for all this.
Absolutely.
So between the removal, installation, the surveying, engineering, all that, the customer's paying for it?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I guess, you know something? Well, hold on, let me just look at the minutes. I don't know if it has to do with this gentleman or the owner of the property.
I wanted to just stick to the location of the pole and moving it left or moving it right. That's what.
You know, we're
what I
gonna
brought.
continue the conversation from there, or what are you looking to do, Madam Chairwoman?
That's what I'm looking to do, to have you interject on moving the pole to the left or the right.
And that's all you wanna converse?
No, we're going to continue, but that's what I'd like you
Oh, okay,
to
all right.
stick to at this point. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but that's.
No, I don't mind, no, it's a simple
not
request.
continuing
I
my-
wasn't too sure regards to
Yeah,
how far
I
you
get it.
let this conversation,
I get it.
that's why I
You're
was
coming in
asking.
late. Yeah, you're coming in after fact for this.
All right, so,
but-
simple, no, I don't, in regards to moving it which way or the other, I don't have any questions on that at the moment. If I do, I can just revisit it,
Okay.
going further into this.
Okay. So that being said, so that is, I just want to follow up with a comment that was made by Michael Savage, which is an attorney for the applicant, I believe. And his comment was made on November 28th, 2023, and was in response to our hearing. It said, "The shifting of the lot line has had the unintended consequence of the transmission lines running to 69 Nevada Street, now passing over the property of 73 Nevada Street," which he provides in Exhibit 6. Prior to the new survey, the lines passed solely upon the property of 69 Nevada Street. The relocation of the Verizon pole will once again place the lines over 69 Nevada Street. Can you explain that with the site plan that we have?
Yes, ma'am. If you look at the site plan here where we have Verizon pole number 3, we have two lines, one heading to almost due west and one about northwest to 73. The one heading west would be to number 69. Those are the current overhead wires as they are existing in the field, which are the services to both those homes. The way it's laid out now, according to this property line here, between 73 and 69, there is an aerial trespass. The lines that serve 69 currently pass over the 73 property.
So you're saying currently there is an aerial trespass?
Yes,
And you're saying that if it moves to the proposed location, that aerial trespass will be served and eliminated, is that what you're saying?
that's correct.
And was that discussed prior at any time, or?
That's part of my explanation here.
Okay.
When our engineer doubled down and re-vetted this, that was part of it. Moving the pole to the right is only going to significantly increase that current aerial trespass. Moving it to the left, we can still serve everybody from this pole.
And if it stays in the location it is, then the abutter at 69 is the one that is going to feel the brunt of moving that pole to the left, is that correct?
I'm not sure what you mean.
So the aerial trespass on that,
Correct.
they're currently okay with where it is and as it stands?
I don't have any dialogue with the customer at 69.
Okay. All right, I think that that's okay. Anything else? I think that, there's a lot of folks that did chime in, and I'd like to just have either one of you add to this, but I asked a lot of questions, and then we'll go to the public, and those that are in favor and those that are opposed. Go ahead. You good with that?
Ready to move forward, yeah.
Okay.
I have questions. When you say aerial trespass, I mean, it's been there so long, wouldn't you look at it as an easement?
As far as I know, we don't have any paperwork that reflects that. I'm not privy to that information.
So you could make a comment in regards to if it's an easement or an aerial trespass?
I would say it's an aerial trespass unless I had some documentation in front of me that said there was an existing easement.
All right, so right now you're just going out, it's an opinion that it's an aerial trespass?
The way I'm looking at it right here, I have a document from a professional land surveyor that shows the line crossing the property line. I would say, looking at what I have in front of me right here, it's an aerial trespass.
But you don't have a judgment from the court in regards to stating that it's a...
I don't have any judgment for that.
Okay. Is the owner of the property here? Madam Chairperson, Ms. Chairwoman?
You're asking for the applicant
Yes,
at 73
please.
Nevada?
Yes.
Is the applicant of 73 Nevada here?
Yes.
Could you take the podium, please? It's up to you whether or not, but we can hear you better there. Thank you. Name and address for the record.
Attorney Brian Maroney, owner of 735 William Maroney. Thank you.
I was going through all this paperwork. It looks like it's a new driveway that was installed by the applicant. Would I be correct about that?
Yes, the purpose of moving the pole is to construct and use.
Because of a new driveway.
Yes.
Did the applicant go before the Board of Public Works to have that driveway installed?
We have to move the pole prior to anything with the board.
But
of Public Works.
he installed a new driveway though, right?
No, there's no driveway currently installed. We're moving the pole in order to do so.
Folks, this is a conversation between a board member and
I gotta ask
the
you,
attorney.
I don't know if you're not close enough to the microphone, but I can't really hear you that well, so.
Sorry.
don't know if you need to pull it up, Georgia. So is there a driveway there? Is there a driveway right there where the pole is? It's not, every little paperwork, it says it's a driveway. So,
Currently, it's a gravel road. There's no driveway. A driveway is looking to be installed once the pole is moved on.
all right, so now I think we're getting, in my opinion, we're getting cute here. So here's the thing. I'm looking at it as a driveway, and installing a new driveway, there's an E code in Marshfield. I believe it's 250-1, 250-2, and 250-3 that has to be gone, and it has to go before the Board of Public Works. Much like this pole, it's another requirement that needs to get approved from the Board of Public Works. And I'm going to imagine that,
Eric?
yes.
I don't know that you're correctly referring to those in this particular case, so I'd like you to ask town council for his
Sure.
impression on that.
Is that correct on 250-1 E code?
No, that is not correct.
What is it? Is there,
50 is the new driveway opening. So this owner would have to actually go to the Board of Public Works and get permission to construct a new driveway, but has nothing to do with pole relocation.
no, I get that, but is a driveway existing there? Or installed there right now?
They want a new
That wasn't
drive-
part of the plans prior to it?
If this owner wants a new driveway connection onto a public way, he has to get permission to the Board of Public Works.
Correct. Which looks like they added on before doing that, because look at previous photos, there was no driveway there previously until they installed.
That's a new driveway connection, in my opinion, that has to go for the Board of Public Works approval.
All right, and I look at this pole is another thing that I believe has to go before the Board of Public Works to get their approval to be moved and all that, so.
Eric, would you mind asking town council as well jurisdiction over the movement of the pole?
Go ahead, you can ask them.
The relocation of a pole does not go to the Board of Public Works. That's only a selectman's decision.
I believe anything on the shoulder and like that, right?
Nope. Work on a new driveway connection in the shoulder requires permission of the Board of Public Works, but pole relocation is only a selectman's issue under Chapter 166, Section 22. Board of Public Works has no authority to approve or deny
Approve or deny what?
pole relocation.
Even
Board
though,
of Public Works.
it's on the shoulder of a roadway?
The section that you are speaking about is about 3 words taken out of context. The context is it's a new driveway. If
No, I'm not talking about the driveway right now, I'm talking about the pole itself.
pole relocation is solely up to the Select Board, not the Board of Public Works. Not the Board of Public Works at all.
I mean, we just had a poll hearing not too long ago, and I was seeing language in our E-codes that was differing from that in regards to, especially the shoulder and the shoulder of the town property. So unless there's something, then I'm gonna have to go before and get more information, but to my understanding that poll, any poll movement still had to go before the Board of Public Works on it.
That's not my opinion as town council.
What's that?
That's not my opinion as town council. That's an opinion that I've heard expressed by a member of the Board of Public Works, but is not the opinion of town council.
Okay, I mean, opinion of a member of the Board of Public Works as well as paperwork in regards to the E-code that they sent me in regards to where the Board of Public Works, I guess, how can you look at it, that, where they have a say in the matter. So I'll
I mean,
look at that
the
further.
section that the board, that individual member of the board is speaking about is a section entitled New Driveway Connections.
No, I wasn't talking about, that's what I said, I'm not talking about the new driveway, I believe it was in regards to what the Board of Public Works responsibilities are, in regards to.
So traditionally, Marshfield and its select board has asked the DPW staff to give a recommendation as to whether a pole relocation should be allowed. And that's the process that the town has followed for as long as anybody can remember. And up until the poll hearing on Wilson Road, no one had ever even thought to do it any differently. And in that process, a member of the Board of Public Works developed a theory that the relocation of a pole could not take place because it was located within the shoulder, and that's not my opinion.
All right, so it's an opinion as we're speaking.
Well, it's my opinion as town council based on my 32 years of experience.
All
Yes,
right, it's your opinion.
it is my opinion
Okay,
as town
all
council.
right. So I'm going to lean towards that. I think it's something that needs to go, in my opinion, goes through the Board of Public Works on this. So going with that, and I'll just state that there appears to be numerous neighbors that are opposed to this. And just going by some of the comments the neighbors made, it doesn't seem that the applicant has made a, how can you say, good faith reaching out to his neighbors in regards to seeing how they can resolve this without, it seems like the battle that they're in, so that's all I have to add. Thank you.
Okay. Since you brought it up, you said that the Board of Public Works, they sent you.
I shouldn't say the Board of Public Works today, a member of the Board of Public Works.
You said they sent you.
A member.
So I am right now a little perplexed by that comment because you're using that here tonight on the record, and I am unaware of what you're referring to. So I'm just going to let that go, but I'm bringing that to your attention.
I appreciate that, and I'll bring it forward if this is
Okay, if you have
continued again.
something. Yep, thank you. So are there would you like to continue your presentation based on, or your response or rebuttal to anything that's gone on at this point?
Yes, I would.
Okay, go ahead.
So as you know, we are seeking approval of the petition for joint and identical pole locations that both Verizon and Eversource have signed off on in connection with the request to relocate the pole up to 7 feet closer to the property line to allow the owner of 73 Nevada to construct and use a driveway on that side of the property. The homeowner has since lost the driveway that was part of the property, with the owners of 77 Nevada having constructed a fence up to the property line. So having no other option, there's no other place you can put a driveway if one side's gone. So we're seeking to do it on this, the other side of the property, which is within the property lines of the owner of 73 Nevada. And as Mr. Bedell had pointed out, it eliminates an aerial trespass. I have an email from the Verizon engineer, Matt Kieran, to that effect, stating, and I quote, "After discussing this job with the field engineer that went out on the survey, this is the only feasible option to relocate this pole and not create any aerial trespass for the abutters." From communications between Verizon, Eversource, there's no other feasible option for both the aerial trespass, the gas lines going to the right, and to the question earlier about moving the pole 1 foot or not less than 7 feet, that would defeat the whole purpose of moving the pole. Moving the pole is to create space to use a driveway, park a car there, go to pass to and fro. And the questions that you previously asked, Madam Chairman, there was about 5 questions that were asked at the previous meeting on November 6th. One being, any other reason to move this pole outside of it blocking the driveway? No, there is no other reason. If there is any other location that would work best for this pole, as Mr. Bedell has stated, as the Verizon engineer has stated, there is no other option, no other feasible option to relocate this pole. They've looked into alternative locations, as Mr. Bedell had stated, there was a second vetting of this survey. Someone came out again and looked at the property with the only conclusion that this is the only feasible location for this pole relocation. So all questions of that being answered no, which is consistent with his email of the Verizon engineers having vetted the property, we ask that this select board approve and grant the order for the petition.
Okay.
If there's any other information needed or any other questions, please let me
Okay,
know.
thank you. I'm going to go to the public and anybody here in the room, first of all, that would like to be
Madam
heard.
Chair, can I just
Yes.
ask 2 questions? if
Sure.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that your client used to have a driveway. What happened to that driveway?
That driveway is on the right next to the property line of 77 Nevada, who have since put a fence up to the property line, and you're not able to park a car there anymore.
Okay.
It's that close to the driveway, and you can't do it, pictures if needed, if they haven't already been submitted.
Sure. And then just my last question before we move on is for Attorney Galvin. Is there a right to a driveway in the town of Marshfield?
No, your property has to be wide enough to have a driveway. And there are other restrictions in our bylaws that prohibit you from putting things too close to a lot line. A driveway can be right up to the lot line, but you can't store a boat or you can't put a shed. You're gonna have a buffer of 10 feet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody here in the room that would like to speak in favor of this pole location? As proposed, moving it? Okay. Anybody on Zoom? Raise your hand, please, if you are in favor of this movement of this pole 7 feet to the left or down Nevada. IT, do you see anybody?
Mr. Moroni.
Mr. Would you allow, Mr. Maroney, can you hear me? You'll have to
Yes, I can.
unmute yourself. Identify yourself for the record and your address, please.
John Maroney, 73 Nevada Street.
Okay,
Yeah, I just want, I would just reiterate the same that was already said as far as moving the pole. With the property line shifting, I believe the pole should shift in line with that, thus allowing the driveway and avoiding any aerial trespass.
okay, thank you. IT, is there anyone else here that would like to raise their hand in opposition of moving this pole? Okay, I'm just looking at the screen first, just a second, so I don't have to, okay. The first woman that was at the podium, would you like to take the podium? If that's it's up to you, but we can hear you better.
Sure.
Name and address for the record.
You got it. Jennifer McNeely, 74 Nevada Street. I'm going to bring us back to the scope of why we're here.
I can't,
Sure, let me move this closer. I'm going to bring us back to the scope, I think, of why we're here, right? Factual statements are simply the homeowners of 73 Nevada Street purchased a home that did not have a driveway located to the left. If we're at my house on 74, because I'm across the street, they did have a partial driveway to the right until the residents of 73 Nevada Street had a challenge with their property lines. Factual statements. Not getting involved, not touching that. Driveway was removed from 73, and there was construction on 73 Nevada Street where they put in a very nice backyard, updated the property, and installed a driveway where there's a pole directly in the middle. That pole, to move 7 feet into another property of 69 Nevada Street, if you haven't driven by, if you haven't taken the steps to see that feet, goes into the middle of their driveway. From a resident, a long-term resident here in Marshfield, and a homeowner of 20-plus years, I find it hard that the town and the neighbors find that it's appropriate to move a driveway and impact another home for the significant reason of somebody had installed a driveway. Now, we can go through all the details there, right? But that's just factual statements. Is that really we're going to impact one resident because somebody else decided they wanted a driveway there? Moving on, I think, we've had and we've heard from Verizon representative here. We have not heard from Eversource. We do know that there are gas lines and water lines that are right where this 7 feet lands and proposes another problem. I don't know and I don't see here in the diagrams that have been provided if that's reflected appropriately. I think that needs to be revisited, right? The last thing we need to do is move a pole 1 foot, which could accommodate the usage of a driveway. It's used today. There's cars that can go into that spot. So to move it 7 feet to impact another neighbor is really hard and difficult for us to understand why that would make sense. Additionally, I could go on about, you know, the Verizon and the enterprise representatives, but it would be nice to have everybody in one room to understand that together. Not too sure the engineer, you know, we hear from the representative, but where's the engineer to talk to it, to give us the details behind that? We have received, and we've all reviewed, the relocation plan that was provided by a survey service. Is that how the engineer was able to understand how to move a pole? Or did they come out and did they execute their survey on their own that shows the gas and the water lines underneath that? I think additionally, we had you know, I just think that we need to really understand the simple facts of this case. Are we moving a pole to accommodate one person and impact another when there was no driveway there from the 20-plus years that I've lived in this neighborhood? That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to remind the public and those that are here to speak that we did hear a lot of conversation and record for opposition to this particular hearing back in November, and it's part of what we have in our binder today. So if you'd like to speak, I get it. The floor is yours. But what we have here, if you're going to say something similar to what you said back in November, it is in our folder. But if you have something new to say, I would definitely like to hear it. And that goes for anybody in the room. So feel free to approach the board.
Zach Trinner at 69 Nevada Street. Carissa DiTullio is my wife, so we live there together. It might echo some of the sentiment that's already been said, but I didn't have a chance to speak in November, so if it's okay with you, I'd just like to share my opinion.
Absolutely.
So I grew up on Nevada Street. I've been there for years. My mom still lives on the street. My wife and I bought 69 Nevada Street in 2017 and poured a ton of money into the house. It was a dump, and we put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. One of those upgrades was cutting back the front so that we would have some parking, put in a retaining wall, bring some curb appeal, and we spent a lot of money to do that. 73 Nevada Street had moved in. The first conversation he had with us was, "Oh, great, can we park our boat in your driveway?" That was the first ever conversation that we had. So then there's the issue with 77 Nevada Street, which I think you have the details on, and Angela can certainly touch on, but that turned verbally and physically aggressive, like pretty quick, and there are police reports to corroborate that. Like, just for kind of the context of the story, I think is important. So that confrontation didn't work out, so we turned and went to the other side, which started to impact us at 69 Nevada Street. The first attempt to move this pole was like a pretty cheeky, like, told Verizon that we had approved it. Verizon showed up randomly, and luckily I was on my way out to work. I was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" Like, "Oh, we're here to move the pole that you approved." That's news to me. So fortunately I was there that day, or else this would have been moved. And because of that, that was attempt number one. And so reasons why I would like this pole not to be moved is there's, just as much as there's a gas line to the right, our gas line is right to the left. I have a Tesla charging station that I haven't been able to use in years because I have to construct this concrete block just so that the Verizon situation doesn't happen again. I won't be able to use that charger if this pole moves to the location. The parking situation, this is going to cut our parking down for the parking that we paid for. This is the point of putting the retaining wall in, putting back the front yard. We have our third child on the way in a couple of weeks, so construction and family access is important to us in the next couple of weeks. And we actually already I wish Eversource was here because we've already had trouble with the pole, the connecting wire from the pole to our house. We've had to call Eversource a couple of times, so like it's already a trouble. Bringing it over that much is going to make, there's an audible, if there's too much wind, it's audible, it wakes up the whole house. The angle of where they're trying to move it to, it's going to make that situation worse. And so the reasons that it's just not needed, like there are already 6 cars that park there comfortably and they go down to the beach and enjoy their house, and we have no qualms about that. but there's no need for the extra driveway, which they already use. And then the parking, let's not, mix words, like the parking is just so we can use his boat there. And luckily you had mentioned that it's illegal to do that in some circumstances, but like that's the reason for this. And then just lastly, the first attempt, like I mentioned, was the Verizon attempt. Luckily we caught that. The first proposal was 3 feet, and now the proposal is 7 feet. And I talked to Daryl Crossman at Verizon, and he said, once this is approved, we have up to 3 or 4 feet additionally discretion. This is gonna end up being a 10-foot move to the middle of our driveway, which we have no parking. We have a family of 3 little girls, like, we're not looking to move mountains or exceptions here. It just seems crazy that we're allowing this to happen. So I beg you that we tie a knot on this and we vote no. This has been a huge pain point for me and my family.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Alrighty. I'd like to just add my comments on this hearing, and my feeling is a disproportionate benefit to 73 Nevada Street, and the replacement 6 years ago on that pole. We know that pole should be there for a long time, and I think there is a broader consideration in this case. Whether or not we move forward in the future with something like this really should depend on how this board takes to light the effect that this has on multiple people in the neighborhood. And for those reasons, I am not in favor of moving this pole. And the aerial trespass comments and the explanation on that was part of, it's there, it's existing, it affects 69, it doesn't affect 73 or 74, based on my impression. Maybe one of you can help me if that seems incorrect in your opinion. But the driveway itself was installed, or the gravel driveway was installed with knowing that the particular pole was there. So for those reasons, I would like you to consider my thoughts and add yours. So.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, as Town Council stated, and, just from touching base with our building commissioner, you can't have a boat or trailer within 10 feet of the lot line. So if that's going to be used for the driveway, that's going to be a problem. You can see the electric vehicle charging station right here on the relocation plan. So if the neighbor can't use that, I think that adversely impacts them. And, finally, I just recall from our last hearing and from the meeting minutes that the reason the driveway on the right side of the house is gone is because he got into a fight with his neighbors and accused them of being on his property. And it turns out that they were correct and he was on their property. And the reason the fence is there was to firmly establish their boundary line. So if that didn't happen, he would still have a driveway.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add, Eric?
The only thing I gotta ask is, in regards to this, is the comment that, I believe the resident of 69 Nevada says, Bob, you're saying that even if we were to approve the move of this pole, Verizon was mentioned them that they still have 3 to 4 feet of discretion to move the pole beyond that? I mean, is that true, or?
I don't believe that's true.
All right.
If you pick a location, that's where it's gonna be. I mean,
That's what I figured, yeah.
If it's gonna be 6 inches this way or that way, probably that's fine, but 7 feet different, so a 3 to 7 feet? No.
All right, I'm good.
Okay. Alrighty. I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to not approve the moving of the pole at 347, 3.
Hey, Jordan.
Bob, do I have to entertain it doesn't matter who it is, but do I have to entertain another option, another point of this particular hearing to add somebody from the audience to speak again at that. I feel like that part of our hearing is over.
Well, you should close the public portion of the meeting, and then you can deliberate.
Okay. But I have one person online that would like to speak.
Then I would let them speak, so you've
So right
heard
now,
everybody.
before you head up, so right now, we are still in those folks that are in favor of this.
The public portion of the hearing is still open, so you could hear from somebody else if you want to.
So I had done those in favor of moving the poll.
Yep.
And then I had done those people opposed to moving the poll. So that is the portion of this hearing that I am in right now. Is
Okay.
that correct? Is that okay?
If that's how you've organized it, yeah.
Okay. So, I can't see that one, but I can see over here. So Diane Jordan, would you allow her to speak, please? Diane, can you hear my voice?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. So this is the public portion, Zoom portion of our public hearing this evening. And we had just entertained opinions from those folks that were not in favor of moving this poll. Are you one of those folks?
Yes, Diane Jordan, 15 Bancroft Street. I'm sorry, it took me a few minutes to figure out how to raise my hand.
Yeah, no,
And then you didn't notice my hand and you continued, but.
I'm sorry.
No worries. I drove by the property and took a look. In my opinion, the resident would have to come before the Board of Public Works for the driveway. So I didn't see any sense in moving a pole if they don't have permission to construct a driveway to move the pole for. So that was my point.
Okay,
It seemed like it was being done backwards to me.
okay. Thank you. Is that it?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the actual space that they've kind of semi-built a driveway
Okay,
is actually wide enough for a legal driveway. But,
okay. So Diane,
it.
okay, before you hang up, Diane, are you responding to this, your comments, are you responding as a member of the Board of Public Works?
I'm just responding as a resident who knows, I guess, about what procedure is supposed to be followed and feels that it's not been followed. And this is backwards. To move the pole before getting permission for a driveway.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that the public portion of this hearing be closed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to close the public portion of the hearing.
All right, thank you. So, are both of you comfortable with moving forward on a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Eric? Okay. Okay, the board moves to not approve the moving of the pole for 347/3, which is the name of the pole, on Nevada Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to not approve the moving of the pole.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, folks.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So it's 8:10. Does anybody need to take a short recess? Are we good to keep going?
I'm okay if you are.
Good to keep going?
If you want, I can take a recess either way.
All right, let's keep going. So we are in our action items number 1, which is discussion and vote to approve the acting fire chief's contract. And Michael, can you help us with this, please?
Yes, so before us is a contract, as the board knows, they appointed Mike LaSalva as the acting chief of the Marshfield Fire Department, and back on June 1st, and this document that's before the board is how he gets paid. So this is the contract that the board would have to enact so that he can get paid
Okay,
as the interim acting fire chief.
okay. And this contract is similar to previous contracts for those those members of the fire department that were becoming interim fire chief, is that correct?
That is correct. I believe this is a very similar contract that was used for Deputy Chief Corbo back about more like 3 years ago.
Okay. So this particular contract has different sections in it, identifies the duties, the terms, salary and compensation, discipline, termination, hours of work, goals and objectives, specifics on benefits, vacation, holiday pay, vacation leave, and other benefits, health insurance, indemnification, injured on duty status, other terms and conditions of the employment, notices, and general provisions. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I do.
Okay.
On number one, just going off of previous fire chief's contract, it mentions Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Sections 42, 43, and 44, but I do not see it in Acting Chief's Michael LaSalva's contract. Is there a reason for that?
The permanent chief would be entitled to strong chief status, and those are the strong chief law, so we wouldn't automatically put that into this one.
So,
When you
Acting
have
Chief Michael
a,
LaSalva will not be a strong chief, is that what you're saying?
he's only an interim chief. Our chief is a strong chief's position, but that language doesn't find its way into an interim agreement.
Can you refer to what you were looking at right now? Because in my,
Fire chief, Jeff
so I have
Simpson's
interim
contract.
fire chief employment contract as part of
You're looking
our
at
agenda.
Acting Chief LaSalva's contract. I have.
What do you have?
I have.
That I don't
I have
have?
Jeff Simpson's contract.
So that is
I was
not
using it as a
part of.
comparison. I was requested the information to make a comparison to.
So neither Steve nor I have that as a comparison. Okay, go ahead.
I think it was number 3. So the employee represents that he's qualified and capable of performing the duties and responsibilities of said fire chief. All right, so the employee represents qualified. So I think that relates to the interim position as well. In regards to number 3, there's a language change there. And then, and then duties, I think, in his duties, does he fall under Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 42, or is that going to be something that's different in regards to the interim as well?
On a temporary basis, yeah.
So
On a
would-
temporary basis, he's running the department.
All right. So on the duties, he would be falling under Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 42.
Correct.
Okay. And then number 4, the responsibility to annually report to the town the condition of the department. Is that something that's supposed to be done at a town meeting, or what are we looking at here?
So our fire chief, like most of the town officials, are responsible to complete a narrative that explains the annual condition of the department. And I don't know how long Acting Chief LaSalva will be involved, but if that deadline comes and goes, I think one of his duties and responsibilities would be to complete that portion of the narrative so that we can include it in the annual town report.
All right, so it's part of the annual town report for town meeting.
That's where I
Town
would
meeting.
view it.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Can you reference the actual contract that we have in front of us this evening to help the public and myself understand where you're
Well,
headed?
yeah, I just said, it was last one,
Okay.
Section 1, duties.
Okay,
And then number 4, I
Okay.
believe I mentioned,
okay,
the responsibility to annually report to the town
okay,
select.
thank you.
And then the next one is Section 4, discipline termination. I believe. So letter A, should that be more clear? Because I think on this, on Mr. Fire Chief Simpson's one, it references Chapter 48, Section 42. on Acting Chief LaSava's, it says Article 8. Should we be more clear in regards to Article 8, saying 8-1 or 8-2, 1 through 4, according to our charter?
So this contract, the way it's written, incorporates both the for-cause provisions of our charter.
Yep.
And it also allows for termination for convenience, if you look at the second paragraph. So the board could remove interim chief LaSalva in accordance with the charter, or could exercise its rights under the next provision, which is termination for convenience. If you decide you're going to go in another direction and you're not going to allow Deputy de LaSalva to apply to be the permanent chief, I don't know why you would do that, but if you did, you could give him notice and you could go out for a search, and that's the way it would be. So this is you could proceed under either option. We could just have a termination for convenience clause. We don't have to afford the rights under the charter. It's only a temporary employee.
But it is in our charter, though. Well, I would say that as a charter, you're saying that it just pertains to a fire chief?
No.
No, it just pertains to
No,
all
that charter
employees,
provision relates to
right?
any permanent
Right.
appointed employee.
Right,
So the selectmen have certain rights and the employee has rights.
right.
And because we've always included that in our interim agreements, I included it in this one. But because it's an interim, I also put in a termination for convenience.
Okay. I was just looking at it because you said Article 8. Article 8 consumes different, I think, certain subject matters, and that's why I was saying if we should specify it more in regards to 8-2, and then 1 through 4 in regards to what falls under that, so.
I actually like it broader because
Gives you a little more-
the whole section talks about suspensions and removals. And I think if you just reference Article 8, because that's the topic of the whole thing, I actually think that's the best way for the town to have it.
Gives you more leeway, is what you're saying.
Gives us more flexibility.
All right. Termination, convenience. Like I said, I think that's gonna, because he's an interim, I think that's different, right, between Mr. Simpson's. He has termination for good cause on Mr. Simpson's, but on Acting Chief's letter B, it's termination for convenience. So is that because he's an interim? The language is
Right.
different?
If we decide to do something different, we have the right to do it.
Sick time, death, and family. Jeff Simpson had 100 days of sick leave eligibility, and I believe Acting Chief LaSava, is he going to be granted 150 days? Am I reading that correctly?
No. So I don't know whether, Mr. Kelly, you have the right version, but there was an original version and there was a revised version.
I'm hoping I'm having the whatever
The
version. I
revised version
posted.
should say that he receives whatever he's earned as a deputy chief.
Yep.
And that's it. The only thing that's changing about the deputies, he's going to function as the interim chief and get a different salary. Everything else remains the same as if he were a deputy. Nothing else is changing. That's, with the exception that we want him to drive the chief vehicle because he's on duty 24/7.
So is he still getting, what is it, his union benefits? Is that-
He'll get whatever so the deputy chiefs are both members of the fire department's union. He'll get whatever the deputy chief has bargained for as a member of the union. It would be wrong to give him more or less.
But he's not going to be part of the bargaining unit anymore, right?
He has the right to go back to deputy chief if he's not made the permanent fire chief after you decide the process to fill that position. He's not suffering any loss of benefits. He'll continue to accrue the rights as at the deputy rate, not at the chief rate, which may be different.
You know, the right to accrue it at the deputy rate. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
so I believe that the deputy has 150 days of sick leave. He's worked for the town for a long time. He'll continue to accrue his sick leave or use his sick leave as if he were a deputy chief.
all right, and then at the bottom of that, I think it says, the employee understands and agrees excessive absenteeism shall be grounds for disciplinary action up to and including termination. Should without just cause be added to that?
Well, I think I don't have it in front of me, but I thought I basically incorporated all of the rights under his existing collective bargaining agreement. Mr. Maresca, do you have the version that I can borrow?
Yes.
I don't want to misstate it. Mr. Kelly, which paragraph were you referring to?
Sick time, death, and family, letter B.
Yeah, the employee shall have the same benefits he is entitled to as the deputy chief.
All right, so,
So if he has 4 days because he's a member of the collective bargaining union, he still has 4 days for a death in the family.
all right, so,
Sometimes it's a little bit narrower when it relates to more distant relatives.
I mean, are we treating this as he's still a union member, or are we just
Yes.
we are, as an interim fire chief?
Well, he's performing the duties on a temporary basis of the fire chief, but until or unless he becomes a permanent fire chief, he's still a member of that union.
All right. Then I guess what we're looking at here is that this is written up as what he has for a union contract with the collective bargaining contract with the union, then?
No. It's merely an agreement to pay him more money and allow him to use the chief's vehicle while he's performing the role of...
Does everything else fall into what I'm looking at here as a union member of the fire department?
Everything else
In
other than
this
his...
agreement?
Everything else other than his salary and the use of the car and performing the duties remain the same as if he were a union member.
Oh, I'm wasting my time on this and everybody else's, I guess. All right, so I see a salary for, I believe it was 166 for him, if I'm correct.
Correct.
And then, but then he has holidays and, well, actually, I would imagine that falls under, what's his total package, I guess, with everything?
His complete compensation as a interim fire chief is $166,400. Whatever benefits he gets under his collective bargaining agreement as a deputy, and he gets the use of the chief's vehicle.
All right, so with the 166, with the other benefits, does it increase his salary or anything like that, or no?
I'm not the union attorney here, so I think Attorney Clifford would be a better one to answer, but
I think Mr. Marasco is...
for retirement benefits, it's focused on his salary.
No, I get that. So, Mr. Marasco, you're shaking your head, so is it...
Well, his holiday stuff is built into his pay, just like anyone else's.
Okay, all right.
He's not getting any additional holidays than what he would have got if he was a deputy.
All right, I think I got a better understanding of what it is right now. There were some comments made by the general public in regards to concerns with him. Could Mrs. LaSalva come up and...
We received some,
Madam Chair,
Yeah, just a
Attorney
sec.
Galvin,
Yeah.
I mean, would
Go ahead.
disparaging remarks made about Deputy LaSalva, our interim chief, be a matter for executive session not to be done in public?
Well, I don't know what he's going to discuss, but, I mean, if he's going to ask him about personnel matters, then those should not be discussed.
I guess what I'm looking at is that if there were letters sent from the public in regards to a certain matter, I guess you could look at that happening.
It would not be appropriate to discuss in open session.
All right, so that's fine, I can do that. I wouldn't be, if you're looking for a vote from me, I wouldn't be able to do it until I can iron those issues out, to be honest with you.
Sure. I apologize for being slow to the draw earlier.
No, that's fine.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, because this is an interim chief contract, I think the better point of comparison would be Deputy Corbo's interim chief contract and not Chief Simpson's contract. And I just want to stress too, because there seemed to be some confusion online, that this is not a vote to make interim Chief LaSalva the permanent chief. All this does is, while he's the acting chief, it bumps up his salary. All of his benefits remain the same as they were when he was the deputy chief. All this does is to bump his pay because of the job that he's doing. So if at my job there was a vacancy above me and I'm now doing the job of an interim manager, I would expect a pay bump and to be paid as a manager until that vacancy was filled. So again, I just think that's the better point of comparison. And just some other comments that have come up that I've seen lately. I mean, I wish folks would just reach out to us first for clarification instead of popping off online and spreading misinformation, because it spreads so quickly these days. I mean, just from our last meeting 1 week ago, I've seen at least 4 bits of misinformation and 1 outright lie and made up quote. So we always encourage folks to reach out, send us an email. It's a fillable form online. Reach out to us. We're happy to provide clarification and documentation to back it up to answer your questions as well. So yes, the deputy chiefs are members of the union. It would be nice if they were consistently treated as such. And I would just add as well, based on some other misinformation I've seen online, the union fought in the 2014 collective bargaining agreement to enable acting Chief LaSalva to continue to live in Harwich. So the union fought to put that in the collective bargaining agreement. So I don't know why it's coming up as an issue now, but I just wanted to provide that clarification, and that's all I have to add, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And you want to?
So just a second. I'd like to just add how important it is for this board as a whole to keep firm on our job and understand that folks are part of the social media contacts. The tone is different. People have the ability to say things that we do not have control over. It's very difficult for this board to respond to every single thing that we see in social media. We cannot and will not make that affect how we do our job here as a select board, paying attention to the details, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. So it is hard as a board. This is the hardest job I have ever had. And I'm sitting between 2 folks that have it's good because we are different. So we need to take responsibility for our own actions and do what we need to do and try to keep public discourse at bay as best as we can. And so what I need to do is kind of keep the pulse. Like, we need to just, I want you to be able to say what you want to say, and I want you to be able to say what you want to say. But the basis of what we need to do is to get our job done and do what we need to do when we took the oath to do this, okay? And I don't want to sound like I'm preaching to the choir, and I know I'm not, because I know you listen and you respect the things that we say, the things that the public says, and I'll leave it at that. So in light of that, I would like to make a motion to move forward on this contract, appreciating the complexity of where we have been in this, and applaud the fire department for doing their job and getting up and doing what's necessary to protect this town. And I'd like to move forward with this, and I'd like your support on making this motion to approve a contract for our acting fire chief, Michael LaSalva. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
2 to 1 vote, 2 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and the motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to number 2. Michael, can you share with the board and let's get started
Yes.
with this. and
Absolutely, Madam
They can
Chair.
introduce themselves for the
Sure.
record.
We have our treasurer collector, Sean Strobel, and our town accountant, Meg Lemay, here. This is a very standard operating
Thank you.
procedure that happens at the end of the fiscal year. Thank you. In order to close out the fiscal year, we do year-end transfers. We do those because normally during the normal course of business, at least for the 11 months out of the cycle, you can't transfer money from personnel to expense to personnel. At the end, the idea of this exercise, and you'll hear, it's a very challenging exercise. What makes ours unique is because we're still going through the conversion into Munis with some of the older systems, and they've got to account for the money. So year-end transfers, they try to zero out as many lines as possible. And last week, they went before the advisory board and made their presentation there, and the advisory board supported the year-end transfers. It also requires the select board to do that. So they're here tonight to go through, and they'll be happy to answer any questions. I know that Sean just passed out an updated year-end '24 transfer.
All righty. Do we love our jobs? Thank you so much for providing this board and the public and our advisory board with the information they need to do our year end for fiscal year '24, which was a very challenging year. And both of you are part of that process, and I appreciate everything you've done. So why don't you just give your impression of where we are and how important this is to the board and to the town.
Well, as Town Administrator Maresco has pointed out, this is an annual process. It's a ministerial duty that we have to execute on. And as you know, the budgetary process is a educated best guess as to how the town will function and what those expenses are. But just realize that the information that we're using to make that educated best guess on that budget is on data that is aged. As you are well aware, the climate of the economy changes not only with inflation, but also with the changing commodities market, which is what we rely on, especially for purchasing certain commodities like fuel or just raw goods that we are actually using here in the town for projects. So 24 has been a challenge, and that's just the same challenge that homeowners are facing in their own budgets that they have personally. So it's no different than the towns. So the year-end transfer process, as presented, we're seeking permission or a vote to approve transfers as presented for $1,690,167.13.
Okay. Give me a second here. So we are approving the second column to ending balance, second column, and under transfers.
So they're calling it, yes, that is correct.
That's what we're-
The transfers is what we're
Yep.
requesting or seeking approval on. So those transfers would net down to zero. But the total amount of those transfers would equate to a deficit balance in the org codes of a total of $1,690,167.13. That is going to be covered by the surplus balances of other orgs that have a current surplus.
Okay,
And as Town Administrator Maresco pointed out, this is our ability to cross between the personnel as well as the O&M.
okay. So when we're working on the surplus end of it and identifying each of those line items as you're going forward, that sequencing of information will be available for advisory at a later date? I know that's part of the process.
The finalization of this process will more than likely wrap up, I would say, mid-August. And we should have a clearer picture as to how fiscal year '24 will close.
Okay, so we are still holding steady on the surplus numbers, and that will be something that will take a little bit of time to wrap up. That's
That is
what I'm
correct.
hearing. Okay, is there anything unexpected in those surplus numbers that will be an extra challenge for you to, I mean, obviously, you're here with these numbers for the deficit numbers. Is there anything that's specifically challenging at this point, above and beyond the normal routine of treasurer and accounting?
I don't see anything particularly challenging, other than the fact that we're still working through an integration. We're still plagued with structural challenges that we inherited when we came into these positions. But I do feel that we're in a much better position than we were a year ago. And I don't know if Meg wants to.
You're referring to Munis, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I would say that the way in which we're in a better spot is that we've identified the areas, like more comprehensively of the areas that need to be improved from the system standpoint. I'm still new to the game. I came in at the end of April, so there's, in terms of getting all of the improvements corrected, we're still working on that, but the improvement is we know what those things are,
Okay,
which
that's
at like
good to
this
hear.
time last year was not identified.
Right,
So
okay.
I would say that that's the major improvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a huge improvement.
Huge
It's
improvement.
it's a huge improvement, and I think Sean and I work really well together towards trying to tackle all those things together as a team, and I think that that's really important too.
Okay. So when you're, I'm just going to keep going here for a second, and then I'm going to ask the board and Michael to weigh in. But so when can you just share with us and the public what your meetings are as far as the importance of, is it bi-weekly? I mean, I know that you have a great relationship with Michael in keeping him in the loop, and then in turn, we get into the loop, as you can see here today. But is that something that you go and, knock on his door a couple times a week, or can you answer that question? And then maybe Meg can help me with, I just want to understand how much communication, because that was one of our problems that I saw, that we needed to know what was going on.
So we are in constant communication. I would say it's not measured in days. I would say it's measured in almost like every other hour. We're in constant communication to cross-reference, because her experience with the system and my experience with the system kind of cross-pollinate to try to check and balance to make sure that we are in fact understanding this newer version of Munis, and that operationally every community does things just a little bit differently. So it's just it's kind of a gut check for us to ensure that we have the adequate controls and the roles are clearly identified between not only who's managing what side of the transaction. That's very important. But as far as Meg and I, we communicate frequently throughout the course of the day to iron out many operational challenges or issues, or structural challenges and issues with the system. And then we also touch base with the town administrator quite frequently. So can't really measure that in once a day or twice a day. It's as needed. But we are in constant communication, as well as we share information electronically through email. So we're in constant contact.
Okay. So you're still working off SoftWrite, correct? And you're done with SoftWrite, we're into Munis now.
So SoftWrite is still the billing and the deferred revenue collection system.
Right.
That system unfortunately does not have a direct API call into Munis, so we're still using Zobrio as the bridge. So we are still managing through 3 software applications.
Yeah. And that will go on for another year plus, right?
Until we're able to pull the trigger on the integration of the deferred revenue, which is the tax billing and utility, then we can disband SoftWrite, and then at the same time also disband Zobrio.
Okay. So I know I said I was going to let you speak, but I just want Michael to interject in the communication part of what's going on and share with us
Yeah, no,
how we're doing.
we're doing great. I mean, the communication, I think you're right, there's a great partnership between the treasurer collector and the town accountant working side by side, many hours. I happened to come in on Saturday, and Meg was here working on Saturday, Sean was here on Sunday, so, all hands on, and they're working to, make sure that we have the best financial recordings that we have. They reach out to me, whether it's by email, they come up. Sometimes they come up together, that's when I know there may be an issue.
Or something great
And
to tell
then
you.
they have great, or sometimes they come up and it's good news.
Yeah.
But they're working through it, and the communication's key. It's important knowing where we are at a certain point in time, so I think we're progressing really well. There were challenges that they inherited that they, have to work their way through, but they're doing a great job tackling it, and I feel extremely confident with their abilities. They're very talented.
Okay. So I don't want to dissect this too much at this point, but I am in favor of these transfers, and the ending balances obviously have come to us with a great deal of detail and work, so go ahead.
Thank you. So in relative terms, we have a pretty good-sized audience tonight, so would you guys just mind explaining, what the Munis system is and how that's progressing?
So the Munis system is really a comprehensive ERP system. So it is a robust system that not only has a financial package, a payroll package, which I don't believe that we're in the payroll piece, but as well as a utility billing, as well as a tax or deferred revenue billing system. It can also handle any general billing or general AR. So if we were to invoice for police detail, that could be incorporated into the system. So it is a pretty robust software application package that we have purchased for the town.
Thank you. I love how you look behind you, too. That made total sense. And then, did you guys find any pleasant surprises in the year-end transfer?
Pleasant is a very relative term. No, honestly, there really are no surprises here. Just based on the commodity market, the decotherm market, it's not surprising that there are deficits in utilities as well as the gas line. I mean, there's certain things that are really beyond our control, and we can't predict those items that are going to increase in cost.
Thank you.
Eric?
So the revised balance deficit is the ones that are painted in red?
That is correct.
I was looking at, let's just pick one at the moment here. Board of Selectmen expenses, maybe Mike is one that needs to explain this, but what is is the deficit 84,742, or is it, that's the total number, but it's the actual deficit is less than that?
So the actual deficit of that particular org, that is comprised of many different object codes, that nets down to $84,742.29. So there are surplus within those object codes, and there could be several object codes in that particular org code for Board of Selectmen. In this particular case, there are certain lines that had a deficit balance. Now, when we net all of those object codes together, the net effect is $84,742 as a deficit for that.
Total deficit.
Total deficit.
You want to chime in on that, Mike, if you don't mind, please?
Well, they do, so, that's my salary. Last year, the board gave me a raise. The budget was already done.
Point of order.
Yes.
That is actually the office, the O&M. That is not
Oh, okay,
the salaries.
okay.
So what is it again?
$84,000 is for the ordinary maintenance, not the salaries.
No salaries incorporated?
No salaries are
Yeah, expenses,
incorporated.
all right, yeah, selectmen salaries, so selectmen expenses, all right, so when you say OEM, I think you said?
O&M, which is ordinary and maintenance.
Okay,
So that is your office supply lines, that is your maintenance, that is your office equipment. That is what's considered O&M. When we present the budget to town meeting, it is personnel expenses and then any of the O&M. I call it O&M, but
I
that's
gotcha.
typically your office expense.
So when you say maintenance, what does that consist of? Like the maintenance of the building or maintenance?
Could
just
be
of the
maintenance, it could be maintenance of a copier, it can be maintenance of the office building.
Paper.
You think paper's a big driver of it?
We purchase all the paper for all of the town hall.
Out of the selectmen's,
Expense line, that's correct.
all right, so is there any way to tweak that line item so it doesn't look like the selectmen's office is blowing the budget all over?
Unfortunately, there are certain expenses you have to cover. Something breaks, it has to be fixed. We can't shut down government because there's, no money. So we work within the confines of the budget. You always, in any budget, even if we weren't going through a conversion, when you get to this point to the end of the year, that's why you have year-end transfers. That's the appropriate legal way to zero out the account.
No, I understand. I have a grasp of what you're saying. The whole thing is that, like I said, I'm just, like I said, selectmen's expenses, but you're saying, like, paper's a big expense.
Paper,
But the only thing is that you're covering every department, from what, if I heard correctly.
that is
right?
correct, yes.
So I'm just saying that
And then sometimes.
it looks
we
like,
also-
I mean, it just doesn't, not to cut you off, I apologize, but the whole thing is that it looks like the selectmen's office's spending is out of control, but the whole thing is that we're funding other departments, so is there a way we can?
You're 100%
that.
correct, that is correct. Not only do we fund the other departments, but we also, if we have a consultant that comes in, we cover those costs through that line item also.
All right.
Yeah, I would just throw in too that this is a summary. You could definitely get a report that expands.
Really
upon-
Oh, no, that's what
Really
that's what I'm looking at here, is that, like Mike used the example as paper. So I might look at it as that, all right, if we're supplying the paper for everybody, why don't we just budget it,
Proportionate.
a portion of it to each department, so it doesn't look like our office is spending out of control, and people are like, well, how come the select board's office is $84,000 in the hole here, So that's the way I'm just looking at it, and I imagine this munis system could help streamline where certain monies need to go in regards to covering things, as long as it's being, like, say Mike's getting paper for 10 blocks of paper for one department, all right, well, you have that on record, all right, this is what they use, all that and everything, so I imagine with the new munis system, you could probably,
Just keep in mind that the budget is a educated best guess.
Yes.
By looking at previous history.
yes,
If there is a one-off event that causes an expense.
Absolutely.
That expense can't be anticipated 18 months or two years before we're relying on information or data that is age. It's 18 months in age and greater. We're using that as an average to arrive at what the best guess is. And in some cases, you're going to have a one-off event that's going to cost the town, and that's going to be coded to a specific department. That's what this year-end transfer process does. It allows the surplus to cover any deficit balance in other areas. That's why this step is very crucial to closing out the year.
I understand
Okay.
that, I understand, but that's the whole thing, is that you have a budget set, but then I see all these red blocks, and it's like, all right, now I think we should, now do I go through tonight and say, well, let's run down all the deficits and why we budgeted, but now it's blown out of proportion in certain areas? I don't want to do that. I mean, I would like to visit at some point with you guys and get some more detail on it and everything like that, but, and everything, so it's mine is, all right, so you're looking to transfer $1,690,000, $167.13 from what? This past fiscal period into the current fiscal period?
No, what we're looking to do is we're looking to transfer the surplus balances in the other org codes to cover the deficit balance in the org codes that are shaded in pink. And
Okay,
as you see on the side, the transfers, for example, the first transfer, there's a surplus balance of $182.56. Our intent is to transfer that surplus balance to cover the deficit balances that are highlighted in pink.
so when you say $182?
As an example, in the first line on the first page,
First line, first page, 182.56, is that what you're looking at?
you're seeing $182.56 on that top line.
Yep.
That is a surplus balance. So the transfer would be a transfer of 18256 to compensate for a deficit. So those deficits are highlighted in pink.
Yeah, so everything that you have a surplus for, you want to cover.
Correct.
So I'm just saying, do we have money left over?
At the end of the day, right now, as presented, we have a surplus general fund surplus balance of $695,583.32.
Okay, and then where is that going to go if we have a surplus?
So that is part of the free cash certification
Free
process.
cash, all right. So going into December's town meeting, I would imagine?
Correct. So when we close out and certify fiscal year '24, we go through a free cash certification process. So that takes not only the revenues that might exceed the budgeted revenues that we have for the fiscal year, but it also looks to see if we have any operational surpluses. Those surpluses are then married together and through the process, the tax rate recap, you could probably speak more intelligently of this process than me, but through the tax recap process, rate recap process, as well as the balance sheet submission. They look at those components, and then they determine what the free cash balance is for the town.
So we have almost 700,000 going into free cash.
I cannot definitively say it is 700,000. This is the preliminary start. This is what's presented so far. We still have much to do for
It could be
'24.
less or more is what you're saying.
Correct, because we still have revenues to post. It's early in the, at the middle of July, you still have cash receipts to post. There may be some other journal entries, like to request things to grants.
When do you get a definitive, when will you have a definitive number on this?
We're hoping mid-August, because right now we have someone who's working through the cash receipts to get all those posted. And then you kind of do a review process to make sure, because what you kind of do is you start with other funds and you see where their activity is, make sure all that activity is correct, because sometimes there is a reclass entry between funds. So it's a process. It's part of the year-end process. It's pretty standard.
All right, so what you're saying is that this is not a firm number as of the moment. This could change next month when you have everything, all the information in, and you're gonna have a definitive number in regards to what the general fund surplus is, whether it's less than what you already have here or more than what you have here, right?
Correct, because there's a procedure that requires us to do these transfers by the advisory board and by the Board of Selectmen at mid-July. Like, that's the cutoff date. That's when that's supposed to be done. That's why this is presented at this particular point. So this is one part of the procedure of year-end close, and it's just to make sure all of these transfers are taken care of, because if the transfers are not done, then any of these deficits would be considered a hit to free cash and would have to be raised in the recap. And so there's a procedure to help the town avoid that process.
Okay, I think I got an idea of what you're talking about. So are you coming back in August to tell us the rest of what you have?
That's our goal right now.
All right. So this you're looking to have this go to free cash. Is there any reason why it couldn't go back to the taxpayer, the homeowners in this town?
There's no procedure to do that.
No procedure to do that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, I'm all set to move forward. Okay. Obviously, you have a lot of work to do, and we'll be seeing you again, and this is procedural as well as informative, so I appreciate that. But the board will move to approve the year-end requested transfers regarding the fiscal year '24 budget as presented by our treasurer and town accountant. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the year-end transfers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. So, we are going into our discussion and vote on select board policies, which was mentioned at the previous meeting. And a lot of what you're seeing here is a Scrivener error, and it's an update on selectmen to select board. So you can see here on your action items, the specific items that were changed. And I'd like to start with number 1, which is a strikeout on the front page, the following words, Board of Selectmen, and insert in its place the following words, Select Board.
That'd be the cover page you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. I'd like to make individual motions on this. I'd like to make a motion that editorial change is accepted. Strike out on the front page the following words, Board of Selectmen, and insert in its place the following words, Select Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you. Number 2 is strike out on the front page the following 2021 and insert in its place the following 2024.
Are you reading the motion?
I am reading from,
Oh, yeah, you want, yeah.
oh, okay. Okay, the board moves to approve the change of the date on the front page from 2021 to 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye,
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the change.
thank you. Number 3, I'm just double checking, make sure it says the same. I'll read it and then we'll talk about it. Strike out on the front page at the very bottom the following words, adopted July 26th, 2021, and insert in its place the following words, adopted on July 15th, 2024. I'd like to make that motion to, the board moves to approve removing at the bottom of the front page, adopted July 26th, 2021, and replacing with the date of July 15th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the change.
Okay, number 4, strike through the document the words Board of Selectmen and insert in its place the following words, Select Board, and that's throughout this document.
Number 1 purpose, is that what, when you?
Yeah, so wherever it says Selectmen, it will now say Select Board.
Are you going to talk about the entire document?
I'm not going to go through every single.
No, but you're talking about the
Yes,
entire-
it was a
okay.
find and replace in this. Okay. So the board moves to remove the words Board of Selectmen and replace throughout the document with Select Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve that change.
Okay. Number 5, strike through the document the word chairman and insert in its place the following, chair. And the board moves to remove the word chairman throughout the document and replace with the word chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the change.
Okay, number 6, strike the word select man and insert in its place the following words, select board, which is what we just did.
Number.
And the board moves to remove the word selectman throughout the document and replace with the word select board member. Similar to what we just did in number 4.
I think you just covered select board, and there's probably
Yep,
parts of it
yep,
that say select
yep,
board
yep.
member, so.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to number 7, in Roman numeral 2, correct the spelling of the word policies. The board moves in Roman numeral 2 to correct the spelling of the word policies. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to correct the,
Okay.
And Madam Chair, since these are all clerical, do you just want to jump straight to the motion so you don't repeat yourself twice, reading the action item and then the motion?
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with doing that unless you have an individual question as we go. So I can just do that and read the motion.
Okay.
With your approval as well, Eric?
What would you like to do?
I'd just like to read the motions down and not duplicate back and forth.
Yeah, I can't see why not.
They're- Okay, all right. Number 8 is the board moves in Roman numeral 3 to insert in the second line before the word provide, the word may. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, number 9, the board moves in Roman numeral 9 to strike the following words, the first and third. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote.
Number 10, the board moves in Roman numeral 9 to strike the third paragraph. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Okay. Number 11, the board moves in Roman numeral 10 in the second paragraph in the first line to strike the following word, 3, and insert in its place the word 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
I do have a question on that.
Okay.
What would be the points? Is it just to, like, if one of us is missing, just to be able to continue the meeting without holding it up? Okay.
Yeah, so if there's one vote in the affirmative and one vote in the negative carries.
One.
So
Negative.
so I say, I'm in favor of this, and you say, I'm not in favor of it. The vote carries as you're not in favor of it.
Okay, so it
Did I
doesn't,
explain that correctly? It's been,
I'm dead. It's the two of you left. It's a 1-1 split. It's like a
and
negative.
if you say
so
no
nothing
and I
happens.
say yes,
it's a
no.
failed, it's a failed.
It's a
Yes,
failed
exactly.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
all right.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, it's good to clarify.
Just in case Steve's no longer with us. Or I'm the oldest of, I'm guessing I'm the oldest.
keep positive.
I know. Stop gibbering.
I'm older.
Yeah. All right, just a second.
So you gotta reread that, I gotta answer that, so you gotta read that off again and then.
Okay. Okay, the board moves in Roman numeral 10 in the second paragraph, first line, to strike the following word 3 and insert in its place the word 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Unanimous vote for the change.
All right. I don't know why I don't have my glasses, but it's making me feel weird. Okay, the board moves in Roman numeral 12 to strike the last sentence in the paragraph 2 and insert in its place the following sentence. Reports from the liaison shall be conveyed to the select board by the individual liaison member as needed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye?
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous vote to approve that change.
And finally, number 13, I believe is the signature page. The board moves to approve the amended policies and procedures voted and adopted at their July 15th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Hold on a second, what do we mean here?
This is finally, it's just everything that we just did, that number 13 is saying that we're agreeing, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's like
that-
tying a bow on it, all the votes.
As amended.
that we just made.
Yeah, it's,
All right, so everything that we've done and just
Adopted the policy.
consolidates
we
it into one.
adopted it, and now
yeah,
it's
all right.
amended
Yeah,
policies
all
and
right.
procedures we'll all sign on the last page.
Are we gonna have our own time
You-
to discuss this?
Number 4.
Well, no, if you thought you wanted to make some changes in the.
Oh, whether or not we could make
our own personal,
modifications in the.
our personal
Oh.
thoughts in regards to making a change if we thought we needed discussion through the board.
Well, if in the future we want to make an amendment to this policy that we just made an amendment, we could certainly add that to the.
All right, so you don't want to do it now, you just want to focus on what was already
I want to do
presented?
what we did. You had an opportunity to address Michael with any editorial changes, and Steve had an opportunity to do so as well. And I spent quite a bit of time on this. And so this is what we came up with. I don't know if you, but these changes appear to be just changes that I submitted to Michael.
Okay,
Okay, so we can look at it again in the
Yeah,
future.
that's no
and
problem.
kind of
No,
work
no,
with it. It's really,
It's
it
minor
really
stuff.
is.
No, no,
It's
it
not-
was minor things I was looking at.
Yeah, and it's
So,
really a
I
working
wasn't-
document. It's
yeah.
nothing that we're.
No, it's not, I
really-
know, I thought when this first came about, especially with some of the language in there and how
It
the
was-
meetings were being proceeded, Attorney Galvin told me this is not a legally binding document.
It's not, it's
so,
just, but it's a
right.
really, especially for someone new to the role.
Right.
You know, you're not just looking at, you know,
that's why-
Googling what's
No,
select.
no, no, well, that's the whole thing, is when I was
do.
reading the policy procedures, there was timeframes in regards from the meeting and dates and all that, and I'm like, I had to reach out to Galvin, because I was like, is this illegally binding? Because we're not following it here. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's
I was
just
like,
part
all right,
of.
okay, so.
I mean, I do rely on this stuff to just kind
No,
of.
I guess you
quick
can have a look-
reference. I'm sure you have over the years too, but, you know, so.
I guess you could just
Okay.
use it as a guide, but it's, like I was
Yeah.
told, it's not a legally
Good
binding
analogy,
document.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're good on that. So now we're moving into number 4. Do you guys need to take a
I
quick break?
don't think we voted on it.
Technically.
We didn't
Oh,
vote
we
on
didn't
it.
Yeah, so I'll
technically
go-
vote
I'll
on
go with-
that?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's start
Yeah,
again,
let's
number
vote.
13. I move that the board approve the amended policies and procedures voted and adopted at their July 15th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the document as amended.
Okay.
And then, Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
just a point of personal privilege, I just want to thank Jenna. In your packet, the policy and procedure Jenna went through painstakingly and highlighted in red every change so that all the members could see everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you.
I just want to take a short break, get a sip of water.
Oh, that's a great
So
idea.
can I
That's a
make
good
a
idea.
motion to take a short recess for 3 minutes?
Okay.
Or 5 minutes, whatever we
I think
need.
it's 5.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. 5-minute break. Roll call is in
9:06.
order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
9:06. All right. Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to come back into public session.
Okay, folks. So now we are going into something that is part of how this board operates, and the public comment portion is something that also was a petition. I believe it was special town meeting, April, and it was number 19, I believe, but that wasn't the first time we've heard of this topic, so, but I'm going to just quickly read here into the record what it is that we're about to embark on. So this is a discussion and vote on a creation of a public comment period at select board meetings. In item number 3, strike the word person. So we're going to go through the same procedure that we just did, and I'd like to have us do what we just did. It seemed like it worked okay, so.
I would just like to inform you, Madam Chairwoman, that I do have questions on number 3 and 7.
3 and 7. Okay. So did you offer any editorial changes, Eric?
Well, the one is any person or resident. I'm trying to figure out why we're changing it from person to resident.
Okay, do you want, you're asking for the reasoning for it?
Yeah, why don't we just leave it as person, I guess? Why are we specifically saying resident?
Okay, so it would allow anybody to come and speak in that public comment from any place and anywhere. And
In town.
anywhere. I was thinking that this would be a great opportunity for our residents to share with us their thoughts and,
I think I can see a point in
feelings.
regards to using that particular word in this matter.
yeah,
I look at it as that if you, just by saying resident, you are limiting it to just people that live in Marshfield. And when we have a kind of vast seasonal crowd that stays here for a period of time, as well as maybe others that, it's almost like, I think, we're shutting them out from, or it appears that we'd be shutting them out from engaging in this public comment. That's my thought to it.
okay.
I look at it, just my thoughts, is that I think it'd be just a better and safer way to just leave it as persons than specifically saying resident.
I just am, I don't know where this is gonna go as far as,
Are we supposed to vote on this tonight?
my intention is to vote on
All
this
right.
tonight. And,
I mean, we can always have a discussion on it if you want to postpone the vote. If you can do that, then I guess we could do that if you want. Because I think some of this might need, especially number 7, depending on where we all at, you may want to get an opinion from Town Council Galvin
I
on it.
believe he's already given us an
Yes.
opinion on this, yes. And helped draft it. So I'll just share with you the work that I've been doing on this. I don't know how much research you've done on this as well, so.
I've read it and made notes in regards to my concerns, and here I am to bring them.
No,
So
that's cool. So, I think that at this point, let's move on from that and leave it at any person, and editorially change that to resident at this point. And let's get to the end of it. I am going to note that you think that it should remain person at this point. And let's get to the end, and we can have another conversation. So let's just hold off on number 1. Number 2, in item number 5, strike the number 3 and insert in its place number 2. So that is not to exceed 2 minutes. Are you good?
Second.
Second? You're good with that?
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote on the change.
Okay, thank you. And then number 3 here is at the bottom of the policy, the following 2 statements, which is purpose for the select board policy. Which is on the next page, you've got it there. And this reads, I'll read the whole thing when we're done. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court under Barron versus Kalinda, 491 Mass 408 in 2023 says that the public comment session be conducted in an orderly and peaceable manner, including designating when a public comment shall be allowed in the governmental meeting, the time limits for each person speaking, and rules preventing speakers from disrupting others and removing those speakers if they do. And then the select board reserves the right to respond to individuals with additional information in a timely manner through the town administrator. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
Okay, 2 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The motion passes.
Okay. Let's go back to number 3 and have a discussion on whether or not we feel that this is appropriate to have this public comment session to be for residents of Marshfield, and be as specific as that. Do you have any comments?
I don't know.
Eric?
Are we talking about what I was, do you want me to,
Yep.
repeat what I said, or?
Yeah, just,
So I am not for the word change in regards to from person to resident, just through the fact that it appears that we are just limited to the residents of Marshfield, when I believe that we have a pretty good base of people that have homes here but are not full-time year-round residents, and as well as there are people that do reside here, vacations from time to time, that maybe they have concerns in regards to something in town. So my look at it is that I think leaving it as person, I don't think does anybody any harm instead of changing it to resident, with my thoughts on it.
okay. I'd just like to know if we're pigeonholing ourselves into just allowing residents to speak when there is previous information on what's legally allowed and not allowed to do in a public comment portion. So I'd like to table that, okay, till we have a correct response from town council. Okay, so let's just keep, we're just going to table that one. If you guys are okay with it, I'm just going to make sure that everything else is copacetic on this, and so that our audience is also hear it. So I'm going to just read the first paragraph and then 1 and 2, with the exception of number 3, but we'll agree to all the other things in this and make that vote, and then just go back to number 3. It'll save us time next time around. So the Town of Marshfield Select Board Public Comment Policy. The Select Board welcomes information, concerns, and opinions from those attending our meetings. In order to give those wishing to comment a fair opportunity to speak, ensure compliance with the open meeting law and other legal obligations, and avoid disruption of its meetings, as chair, we will proceed as follows when in public comment period. Number 1, one comment period shall occur at or near the beginning of every select board meeting. The chair may, at his or her discretion, set aside additional periods or move it to the end of meeting. Such comment periods, however, shall not restrict the chair's discretion with respect to public comment on any matter before the select board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
All right. Number 2, public comment is reserved for matters within the select board's responsibility or topics identified on the select board's meeting notice. Comments expressing any viewpoint on these matters are welcome. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous
Alrighty.
vote.
We're skipping over number 3. Number 4, all comments shall be addressed through the chair of the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Okay, number 5, we already approved. Number 6, to ensure compliance with the open meeting law, privacy laws, and other legal obligations, the select board will not engage with a speaker or with one another in deliberation on comments as they are presented during comment periods. At its discretion, the select board may schedule issues raised by a speaker for deliberation at a future meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
All right.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, number 7. Disruptive comments and conduct are not allowed. Disruptive comments and conduct include but is not limited to, the use of discriminatory statements, comments or conduct that violate the law, including threats to harm or intimidate, and other comments or conduct that interfere with the select board's conduct of its business. The chair shall provide at least one verbal warning to a speaker if he or she makes disruptive comments or engage in disruptive conduct. If, after at least one verbal warning, the speaker persists in making disruptive comments or engaging in disruptive conduct, the chair may end that person's privilege of address. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
Okay. 2-1, the motion carries.
Okay, number 8, all persons wishing to make a public comment are reminded of the availability of administrative channels to address any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous vote.
All right, so let's just recap. We will table public comment policies, full vote, and let it be for number 3 alone, and we will revisit that at our next available meeting, and that will be on our agenda and identified. Is there anything else specific that I need to do for that, Michael?
No, so we're gonna put number 1 back on. We'll get town council to weigh in on person versus resident, and then we'll do the final vote at that meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So right now I have to make a motion to table this public comment policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go to my glasses. We are number 5. Discussion and vote on application for annual peddler's license, JB's Doggy Delights. Lovely. This is a road truck, Jackie Brady, name of business, I just said it. And they are out of 106 Longwater Drive in Norwell. Everything seems to be, any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
None.
Eric? Okay. Let's make a motion, just a second. The board moves to approve a peddler's license for Jackie Brady of Norwell for JB's Doggy Delights, doggy ice cream truck with hours of operation Monday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. pending sign-off from Marshfield Fire Department, Marshfield Police Department, and Treasurer's Office. The applicant is subject to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts motor vehicle laws and the Town of Marshfield zoning bylaws. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to
Thank
approve.
you. Number 6, we've already done. Number 7, we have already done.
Yep.
Right. Number 8 is a discussion and vote on application for temporary liquor license Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra. This is an event for August 8th, 6:30 PM to 9 PM at the Daniel Webster Estate. Ticketed fundraiser with hors d'oeuvres, cash bar, magic show, music, and dessert. And all alcoholic beverages. Copy of liquor license is here. Tips for service, detailed written event narrative, and it's indoors and on the porch. Everything seems to be in order. Sounds lovely. Okay. This is the tip certificates. Sorry. That's it. Any questions or comments? Everything seems to be in order.
No, thank you.
Eric?
I have none.
All right, let's make a motion. Board moves to approve an indoor, including the porch, temporary all-alcoholic liquor license for Karen McCarran, McEachern?
McEachern.
Yes, that's right, of the Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra for a fundraiser to benefit the Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra on August 8th, 2024, from 6:30 PM to 9 PM at the Daniel Webster Estate. It will be a ticketed fundraiser with hors d'oeuvres, cash bar, magic show, music, and dessert, pending sign-off from MPD, MFD, copy of liquor liability insurance, naming the town of Marshfield as additionally insured, copy of tip certification for all servers, and a detailed narrative. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Okay. Number 9, discussion and vote on application for temporary liquor license, Stellwagen Beer Company. 100 Enterprise Drive. Hours of the event, 3 PM to 7 PM, and it's going to be at WATD's location at 130 Enterprise Drive. Description of the event is a pop-up beer garden at Rock the Lot 6. Wine and malt beverages only. We have the liability, tips, and the narrative, and it's going to be entirely outdoors. There is a overhead aerial where things are going to be. Michael, this is the first year of this?
No, Ed Perry's done this a couple of times, so anyone that's a frequent listener to WATD knows that Ed Perry, they showcase up-and-coming bands, local kids in and around the WATD listening area that have bands. They come on, I don't know if it's like Wednesday or Thursday night. And this is, once a year, he has the outside concert in the parking lot and has the bands come and their followers come and they do this event. So I know they did it last year. I'm not sure if they did it the year previous to that.
Okay. So, Michael Snowdale said no tables, no chairs, standing only unless guests bring their beach chairs. Entrance and exit is the opening in the red circumference for the board. So bring your lawn chairs, and sounds like fun. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
I do.
Okay.
I believe this is from the chief, if I'm reading this, Chief Tavares. We need to know if any tables and chairs are inside, which I believe was answered. Also, what type of barrier and entrance and exits? So are they supposed to have like a barrier around the area of this function?
Yeah, if you look, they'll have it, it's supposed to be roped off.
So it's going to be roped off?
Correct.
Okay. And it's in their parking lot. I mean, how many people do they expect to attend this event, do you know? Because they're blocking off their whole parking lot, so is there, where else, are they parking out in the street, or
They park out in the street, so they can use that area.
there's no issues with the police department or anybody in regards to?
It's for a short duration of time, I think it's from 3 to 7.
And it says they'll bring lawn signs, you know, that.
No, I saw
no
that.
beer beyond
But
that.
I know the chief was inquiring in regards to what kind of barrier they're gonna use on that, so, and then, like I said, I was concerned with like the parking, where they're roping out the parking lot and everything, but, and then how much traffic between both sides of the road maybe possibly being, excuse me, being used for parking, so, other than that, I'm good to vote on it.
So they'll be parking on Enterprise Drive, I'm just guessing, but,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, both sides of the
Right,
road, so I wasn't too sure if there's gonna be a concern in regards to
yeah,
traffic-wise. I'll let the police hopefully,
take care of that.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, sorry. The board moves to approve an outdoor temporary one-day wine and malt beverage liquor license for Michael Snowdale of Stellwagen Beer Company for an event at WATD, 130 Enterprise Drive in Marshfield for July 20th, 2024, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. for a pop-up beer garden at Rock the Lot, pending sign-off from MPD, MFD, copy of liquor liability insurance, naming town of Marshfield as additionally insured, copy of tip certification for all servers, and a detailed narrative. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Thank you.
Approved.
All right, number 10 is a temporary one-day entertainment license. Discussion vote on application for temporary entertainment license for WATD. So this is the same thing.
Madam Chair, if I
Yes,
may.
go ahead.
At the bottom of this, Mr. Kelly, they do expect about 100 people, he said.
Yep.
Oh, I see that, thank you, yes.
Yep. Dancing by patrons, live music, any other audio or visual show, amusements. Attachment A, amplification system, radio and recorded music. It's all outdoor, no neighbors living near us, nearby businesses not open on Saturday in our area. Will there be a tent? No. Will there be food service at this tent? No. Police have no issues with this event, it says. Bill. Okay. The board moves to approve an outside temporary one-day entertainment license for Ed Perry Marshfield Broadcasting Company, DVA WATD FM, located at 130 Enterprise Drive, for the Rock the Lot event for Saturday, July 20th, 2024, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the following types of entertainment. That includes dancing by patrons, amplification systems, radio, recorded music, another audio and visual show, amusement and exhibition for 100 people. No food will be served and no tents will be needed, pending sign-off from MPD and MFD. I didn't ask you if you guys were okay with this before I read it in, but are you?
I'm good with it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
All right, almost there. Number 11 is a discussion and vote to proclaim Marshfield as a Purple Heart town and to annually recognize August 7th as Purple Heart Day. And our governor had made this proclamation as well, but I will read this into the record, and then we can have a discussion. Town of Marshfield proclamation, Purple Heart Town. Whereas the town of Marshfield, Massachusetts, has been a proud supporter of its military veteran population, and whereas the people of the town of Marshfield have great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served their country and this community in the armed forces for the good of all, And whereas contributions and sacrifices of the men and women from Marshfield who served in harm's way in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedom and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas citizens of our community have been killed in action while serving in the armed forces and have been posthumously awarded the Purple Heart for their ultimate sacrifice. And whereas citizens of our community have been awarded the Purple Heart for their bodily sacrifice of being wounded in action while engaged in combat. And whereas the heritage it represents is sacred to those who know the price paid to wear the Purple Heart. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest American military decoration in present use and was created as the badge of military merit on August 7, 1782, in Newburgh, New York, by General George Washington. Initially, it was made of purple cloth, shaped as a heart, with the word merit sewn upon it. And whereas August 7th is nationally recognized as Purple Heart Appreciation Day, and now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the Marshfield Select Board, on behalf of the town of Marshfield, go on record to hereby proclaim Marshfield, Massachusetts, a Purple Heart town, honoring the service and sacrifice of our nation's men and women in uniform that were wounded or killed by enemy while serving to protect the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. And also be it proclaimed that we, the town of Marshfield, will recognize August 7th annually as Purple Heart Day and encourage our citizens to express recognition and gratitude of our Purple Heart recipients. Witness our hand and seal of the town of Marshfield on this day, Monday, July 15th, in the year 2024, the Select Board. Pretty cool. Any comments?
I think it would be a great thing to recognize.
Eric?
I do. Everybody knows I'm a big supporter of the military and everything that they've done for this country down in the past. And I see these proclamations coming up now, and, you know, I know we had one in the past that was controversial. Not to say this is controversial, but I think we already have a couple of days already recognizing our military people and all that. And I would imagine that as something like this would fall into those days. And I just look at that. I think things are getting, in my opinion, and if people disagree with me, please go up and say me. But I think this is getting carried away in regards to all these proclamations and all that. So I wanted to say that.
Well, I disagree with you.
No, it's fine. You can disagree.
I think this is a great opportunity for this town to applaud those that have served and that have done their job to protect us.
Well, you have Memorial Day and you
I
have
agree,
Veterans Day
but-
for that, you know? It's,
But that's what this is about. It's about recognition and letting those that have done great service to us be part of our thoughts and
Well, I
part of what we
think-
need to do and say.
I
so.
think as a military as a whole, yes, this is selective to a certain category of military people in regards to who received the Purple Heart. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to put them down like that, but I think we do recognize them
Okay.
as a whole on a couple of days of the year, so.
Okay. All right, well, I'd like to move forward. The board moves to approve the aforementioned proclamation read into the record naming the town of Marshfield a Purple Heart Town with an Appreciation Day for August 7th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
2-1 vote, motion carries for Purple Heart appreciation.
Okay. Number 12 is discussion and vote on annual board committee reappointments and other annual reappointments for terms expiring on June 30th, 2024. And I would like to read these names. And the following people whose current terms expire on June 30th, 2024 have requested reappointment for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2027, and have submitted signed query forms. Dean Scribner, Capital Budget Committee. John O'Donnell, Conservation Commission. Maria Maggio, Council on Aging. Carolyn Shanley, Historical Commission. Brian Spagno, Recreation Commission. Marianne Leonard, North River Commission. Kevin Cantwell, Recreation Field Committee. Harry Murphy, Capital Project Building Committee. Lawrence Sweeney, Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee. Bertram O'Donnell, Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee. Amy March, Plan for Public Information Committee. Stephen Carver, Waterways Committee. Roger Fosdick, Waterways Committee. Cindy Castro, Revolutionary War Honor Roll Committee. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions?
I do
or
not.
comments? All right, I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to reappoint the following individuals for a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2027, pending submission for their signed query forms. I have to reread it?
No.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to reappoint.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think our job here is done. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adjourn the Select Board meeting for Monday, July 15, 2024.
Thank you, everyone.